My child, pause everything and hear me, because what I am about to speak carries weight your spirit cannot afford to overlook. The wheels of destiny are turning, and it is too late to turn back, for you have already crossed the threshold into a season where nothing remains the same. You are standing in the center of a divine acceleration, a moment when every hidden shift, every quiet transformation, and every prayer whispered in the dark is converging into purpose. Listen closely now, for what unfolds next will shape the very course of your life. You feel it, don't you, my child? The quiet trembling under the surface of your life, like something in the unseen beginning to move, to rise, to shift. That is not your imagination, not mere emotion, not a random wave of restlessness. It is the stirring of the eternal wheels I set in motion long before you drew your first breath. Before you knew your own name, I knew every chapter of your story. Every valley and every mountaintop, every tear and every triumph. And in my wisdom I ordained a time when the stillness would break and destiny would begin to roll forward with an unstoppable weight. You look at your days and think they are ordinary, but I tell you, they are charged with purpose, infused with my fingerprints, woven with timing you cannot yet comprehend. The conversations you have, the doors that close without warning, the sudden dissatisfaction with what once felt comfortable, all of it is evidence that my hand is turning the wheels of your destiny. I am not reacting to your life, I am orchestrating it. I am not guessing your future, I have already written it. There were years when it felt like nothing was happening, when your prayers seemed to vanish into silence, when you wondered if I had forgotten you. I had not. In those hidden years, I was aligning circumstances, shaping your character, and preparing your heart so that when the wheels began to move, you would not be crushed by the weight of what I planned to place upon your shoulders. You have not missed my timing. You are waking up inside it. Even your delays, disappointments, and detours have been gathered into my purpose, like streams feeding a mighty river. I saw every time you almost gave up, every night you questioned your value, every moment you felt invisible, and I whispered to your spirit, hold on. I am not finished. Now the quiet turning has begun, and though you may not see the full picture, your spirit knows something is shifting. Do not resist this stirring or run back to what I am gently removing from your hands. The familiar may feel safer, but it cannot carry the weight of where I am taking you. Trust me as the wheels begin to gain momentum. You do not need to understand every detail. You only need to stay close to me, to lean into my voice, to let me steady you as the ground beneath you changes. I am not a distant observer. I am the one setting the pace, the one guiding the movement, the one who walks beside you as destiny awakens. What you feel now is only the beginning, the first subtle tremor of a much greater turning that will draw you into everything I have prepared for you. You may not have noticed it in the natural, but there was a moment when everything around your life quietly changed direction. That shift did not announce itself with thunder or spectacle. It moved softly, almost imperceptibly, yet its impact was immeasurable. I watched the weight on your heart, the unanswered questions, the tension between what you hoped for and what you saw, and in the deep chambers of eternity I appointed a moment when things would begin to tilt in your favor. You have lived through long seasons where you wondered if anything would ever move again, where you carried yourself through familiar routines while your spirit whispered that something more existed beyond the horizon. That whisper was not born from imagination. It was the echo of what heaven had already begun preparing for you. When the shift occurred, it was not because you earned it or forced it, but because the time appointed for your next chapter had matured. I brought certain relationships into focus and allowed others to fade. I reoriented your desires, and I stirred your soul in ways that words could not fully explain. This shift is not fragile. It will not fade like a passing emotion. It carries weight, intention, and direction. You may feel caught between what once was and what is beginning to emerge, yet this tension is evidence that destiny is actively shaping your path. Sometimes you look back at recent events and feel unsure of what they mean, but when you consider them in the light of my guidance, you will notice how pieces subtly arrange themselves. You found yourself thinking differently, craving clarity, longing for renewal, sensing a pull toward places you had forgotten or postponed. None of this was accidental. I placed those stirrings in your heart as a sign that heaven had turned its face toward your life in a new way. While you wondered if anything significant was happening, the spiritual atmosphere around you was being recalibrated. What felt dormant began to awaken, not because of chance, but because your appointed season moved into alignment. Even now, you may find yourself pausing at odd moments, sensing an unseen presence drawing you forward. That nudge comes from the shift that has already occurred. Move with it, even if slowly at first. Trust that I am guiding you with intention. You do not have to force momentum. You simply need to stay open to where I am leading you. Your life is not standing still. Heaven has turned, and with it, the path before you is unfolding in ways you will understand more clearly with each step you take. Before any fear ever whispered its lies to you, I released a word over your life that still stands untouched and unshaken. You may wrestle with uncertainty about where your journey is heading, but from my vantage point, your path is already written with clarity and purpose. I did not design your life through reaction or improvisation. I spoke with intention, knowing every challenge you would face and every victory you would walk into. When you were young and unaware of the weight of destiny, I had already marked you for greater things. My words over you were not faint impressions or vague hopes, but declarations rooted in eternal certainty. Even the moments when you doubted yourself or allowed the noise around you to cloud your confidence, my word remained firm, anchored beyond the reach of circumstances. You may have misread seasons, misunderstood delays, or felt abandoned during silent stretches, yet not once did I retract a single promise I placed over your life. While you questioned your own strength, I held tightly to the future I had spoken over you. My declaration became the foundation beneath every step you took, even those that felt unsteady. I watched you navigate seasons that felt like dead ends, but I also knew that my word had the power to turn those very seasons into turning points. If you could see what I declared over you, you would walk with a steadier heart, because every detail unfolding now is aligned with what I spoke before you took form. You may feel uncertain about your next steps, but I am not uncertain. I foresaw every challenge, every loss, every moment of confusion, and I built your future with all of it in mind. What I speak does not bend under pressure. It does not expire. It does not diminish because your feelings fluctuate. Even now, you may notice hints of old dreams resurfacing, passions rekindling, or ideas stirring within you that you thought were forgotten. That stirring is evidence that my word over your life is still active. Allow it to strengthen you. Let it remind you that you are not wandering without direction. You are walking toward what I have already spoken. Nothing in your past has canceled it, and nothing in your present can alter it. My word goes before you like a shield, and behind you like a seal. You are stepping into a future that is not random but divinely spoken, and as you move forward, you will see how every step draws you closer to the fulfillment of what I promised you long before you knew how to dream for yourself. You may not fully realize it yet, but the very things you thought had slipped away from you have already begun to move again, quietly and steadily, beneath the surface of your life. There were seasons when you prayed with everything in you and felt as though your words dissolved into silence. You waited, hoping for signs of progress, yet nothing seemed to shift. Those delays felt heavy, sometimes unbearable, and you wondered if perhaps certain promises were no longer meant for you. What you didn't see was the intricate process unfolding behind the scenes, the preparation required before the next phase could take shape. Timing matters in ways you often cannot understand in the moment. I protected you from rising too soon, from stepping into places you were not yet ready to sustain, from embracing blessings that would have weighed you down instead of lifting you. Those delays were not denials, they were safeguards. Yet now, the stillness that once surrounded you has started to break. What felt frozen is thawing. What felt unreachable is drawing near. You may catch glimpses of change through unexpected opportunities, renewed energy, shifting relationships, or sudden clarity. These are not random events. They are signs that what was delayed has entered motion under my direction. Even your internal shifts matter. The way you see yourself is changing. The way you think is maturing. And the way you respond to challenges is strengthening. All of this signals that you are ready for the movement you once begged me to bring. I am opening paths you could not force open, aligning circumstances you could never orchestrate, and reconnecting threads in your life that once seemed severed. This movement may begin subtly, but it will grow steady and undeniable. Trust that the pace I set is intentional. Do not rush ahead in fear, and do not shrink back in hesitation. Walk with awareness, because the motion you have prayed for is unfolding even now. Your life is shifting into alignment with my purpose, and as you move forward, you will begin to see the fulfillment of long-awaited answers emerging with clarity and strength. The delay has ended. The wheels are turning. What once stood still is now advancing with purpose, carrying you toward the chapter that has awaited you for far longer than you realized. You may not fully grasp it yet, but you are standing in a place where the direction of your life is shifting in ways far greater than anything you have walked through before. This is not an ordinary moment, nor is it something that appeared suddenly without preparation. Everything you have endured, every decision you made, every disappointment that shaped you, and every hidden victory that strengthened you has led you to this turning point. You arrived here through a series of steps that may have looked ordinary to others, but I saw the weight carried inside each one. I witnessed the private conversations you had with yourself when no one else was around. I heard the questions you buried beneath busyness. I noticed the longing you tried to quiet. This turning point was not created by chance. It was formed through the accumulation of moments that shaped your heart to be able to recognize my guidance now. You may sense an inner shift that is hard to name, a kind of awareness that something in your life is approaching a new direction. This awareness is not meant to frighten you but to awaken you. The old path cannot continue to hold you because it no longer aligns with the person you are becoming. You feel a pull toward something deeper, something more aligned with what I placed inside you from the beginning. The crossroads you stand upon is not a place of confusion. It is a place of invitation. I am guiding your eyes to see beyond what you once settled for. I am allowing certain things to lose their appeal, not because they were wrong, but because they are no longer where your purpose resides. You may notice a shift in your desires, a change in your priorities, or a gentle yet persistent urge to step into something unfamiliar. These inner movements are not random impulses. They are markers pointing toward your next assignment. Life will not remain the same after this turning point, for you are entering a season where clarity will meet courage. You do not need to fear the unknown road ahead, because my presence will shape every step you take. Trust the sense of transition rising in your spirit. This turning point carries weight, direction, and purpose. It holds the beginning of what you have quietly longed for, even in seasons when you convinced yourself not to hope too deeply. Step forward with the understanding that you stand at a divine threshold, and every moment from here will draw you into the future that has been waiting for you. You may still feel stuck between what you have prayed for and what you expect to see, yet the season you have longed for is already in motion around you. The shift didn't arrive with fireworks or sudden breakthroughs you could point to on a calendar. Instead, it came softly, like dawn light gradually illuminating a room. You prayed for change, for renewal, for a sense of direction, and while you waited for visible confirmation, the transformation began deep within your heart. I watched your prayers rise from places of longing, hope, and sometimes desperation. I received each one with care, not as distant requests, but as intimate expressions of your journey. While you wondered if your petitions had been dismissed, I was weaving together the timing and preparation needed for the answer to unfold. This new season does not start with an external sign but with internal readiness. You may have felt subtle shifts in your thoughts, sudden moments of clarity, renewed strength, or growing dissatisfaction with patterns that once felt acceptable. These inner movements are evidence that the season you prayed for has already touched your life. External manifestations will come, but they will be the result of what has already begun to take shape within you. You sometimes question whether your prayers carried enough weight to influence anything, yet they were never overlooked. Every whispered desire, every tearful request, every silent hope carried purpose. I took each one and aligned it with your growth, your maturity, and your identity. The unfolding may seem slow, but progress is often hidden before it becomes visible. You may feel drawn toward new opportunities or ideas that weren't on your mind before. You may sense that certain limitations are no longer binding you in the same way. You may find yourself thinking differently about your future, even if you can't explain why. These changes are signs that what you asked for has already begun. You are not waiting for the season to come, you are inside it. Trust this quiet beginning. Trust the slow rise of transformation. The prayers you released in faith have moved forward, and the work I am doing will continue to unfold with strength and clarity. This season carries answers, growth, and renewal. You stepped into it before you realized it, and as you move forward, you will see how everything you prayed for is manifesting piece by piece, forming the life you hoped for in ways far deeper than you imagined. You may still feel the sting of certain endings, but those closed doors were not punishments. They were protections shaped by wisdom you could not see at the time. There were moments when you reached for opportunities with all your strength, believing they were essential to your future, yet I gently removed them from your path. You wondered if you lacked something, if you made the wrong decision, or if you somehow failed to measure up. None of those perceptions reflected the truth. I saw what those doors would have led to, and I knew the weight they would place upon you. Some of the things you wanted so deeply would have demanded more than you were meant to carry. Others would have shaped you into a version of yourself that did not honor your identity or calling. I stepped in, not to deprive you, but to redirect you. You may remember how tightly you held on to certain relationships, dreams, habits, or commitments. Letting them go felt like losing part of yourself. It created a hollow space inside you, leaving you unsure of what would fill the emptiness left behind. Yet beneath the surface, I was clearing space for what aligns with your future. Closed doors are not always understood in the moment, but they are necessary to ensure that you step forward without attachments that anchor you to places you have outgrown. You grew in ways that made it impossible for you to remain in environments that no longer supported who you are becoming. You may feel frustration when you look at paths that seemed promising but ended abruptly, but I was guarding your destiny with precision. Certain opportunities would have drained your energy. Certain people would have diverted your focus, and certain pursuits would have consumed your time while giving little in return. I closed those doors deliberately, with care and intention. As you move through this new season, you will begin to understand why certain things had to fall apart. The closure you resisted has created space for clarity you could not access before. The peace you seek will rise as you detach from what you once clung to. I am not asking you to erase the memories or deny the value those chapters held. I am inviting you to see them as stepping stones rather than destinations. Trust what I remove. Trust the doors that no longer open. Trust that the path ahead holds opportunities that match your growth, your purpose, and your identity far more deeply than anything you tried to preserve. The closures behind you are making way for alignments ahead of you, and in time, you will see how essential they were to the unfolding of your destiny. You may feel the tension rising inside you, that unmistakable sense that the road you once walked with ease now feels narrow, restrictive, and strangely unfamiliar. This discomfort is not a sign of failure or misdirection. It is evidence that your growth has outpaced the limits of the path you once depended on. You developed strength through experiences that stretched you, wisdom through obstacles that challenged you, and depth through moments you did not know how to navigate at the time. These changes have shaped you into someone who cannot remain confined by environments that no longer reflect who you are becoming. The path that once felt stable now feels too small, not because it has changed, but because you have. I have expanded your capacity, sharpened your discernment, and awakened parts of your identity that cannot thrive in places designed for an earlier version of you. You may feel uneasy as you continue down familiar routines, noticing how your spirit grows weary from staying within boundaries that once felt comfortable. This weariness does not come from aimlessness, it comes from being called to rise into something more. You may try to convince yourself to stay where it feels predictable, to ignore the quiet pull toward new directions, or to silence the inner urge pushing you forward. Yet the longing for depth will not fade, because it is rooted in divine intention. Growth disrupts comfort. Purpose disrupts routine. Calling disrupts stagnation. The disruption has become your companion because you are being prepared for a journey that moves beyond what you once imagined. I am not removing the old path out of cruelty. I am guiding you toward a place that can sustain the full measure of who you are meant to be. If you remain in spaces too small for your spirit, you will feel yourself shrinking to fit what no longer reflects your true self. Your growth was intentional, and so is this transition. You are not being pushed into emptiness. You are being drawn into expansion. The unfamiliar road ahead may feel daunting, but it holds opportunities aligned with the person you have become. Release your grip on the path that once served you. It carried you for a season, but it cannot carry you into the future I have shaped for you. Trust the tug you feel within. Trust the longing for war. Trust the change rising in your heart. You are stepping into territory capable of nurturing your purpose, your maturity, and your destiny. What lies ahead has room for the fullness of who you are now, and the journey forward will reveal just how much more you were created to become. You may interpret the stirring inside you as fear or uneasiness, but what you are feeling is the subtle shift of your life aligning with a higher purpose. Anxiety creates confusion, but what's moving inside you brings clarity the longer you sit with it. Alignment often begins with an unfamiliar sensation, a mixture of anticipation, heightened awareness, and a sense that something meaningful is emerging even if you cannot define it yet. When your spirit recognizes a direction before your mind understands it, you feel tension, not because something is wrong, but because your inner world is adjusting to a reality that has not fully manifested in the physical realm. This adjustment can feel like pressure, but it is not the pressure of danger, it is the pressure of growth. You may notice your thoughts drifting toward possibilities you once dismissed. You may observe your desires shifting in ways that surprise you. You might feel drawn to environments, people, or ideas that resonate with the deeper truth of who you are becoming. These experiences signify alignment, not disorder. When I begin guiding you toward a path designed for your next chapter, your spirit responds before your circumstances reflect the change. This creates a sense of internal movement, subtle, persistent, and unmistakable. You may attempt to label this as worry, because it does not resemble the comfort you associate with certainty. Yet certainty is not always present at the beginning of alignment. What is present is direction. You feel pulled without fully understanding where the pull is leading, and this creates a tension your mind tries to interpret through the lens of past experiences. Allow yourself to pause and listen beneath the surface. You will notice that what you feel does not carry the heaviness of fear but the weight of awakening. You are not being scattered. You are being drawn together. You are not losing control. You are discovering what matters. You are not unraveling. You are being refined. Alignment feels like a shift because something inside you has outgrown the patterns that once defined you. I am guiding you into greater clarity, greater strength, and greater purpose. This inner movement is your spirit recognizing what I have prepared for you, and although your mind may lag behind, it will catch up. Trust the sensation, even if it feels unfamiliar. Trust the direction, even if it is not yet visible. Trust the alignment happening within you, because it is preparing you for the opportunities waiting ahead. What you feel is not anxiety. It is the unmistakable sign that your life is stepping into divine order. You may notice certain things slipping out of your grasp, not because you failed to hold them, but because they no longer belong in the pace you are being called to walk. This removal may create discomfort, yet it is rooted in purpose. I see the weight you carry, the responsibilities you cling to, and the attachments you maintain even when they drain your strength. Some of these connections were meaningful in earlier seasons, offering comfort or stability when you needed it. Others formed out of habit, fear, or obligation. Whether cherished or burdensome, these parts of your life have begun to slow your forward momentum. The pace of your destiny requires lightness, clarity, and freedom. I am not stripping you of what is valuable. I am releasing you from what restrains your growth. You may notice relationships changing, routines losing their power, or desires shifting away from things that once felt essential. You might find yourself questioning why certain pursuits no longer satisfy you, or why old comforts now feel heavy. These shifts are not random. They are intentional removals guided by my wisdom. I see how certain attachments keep you circling the same emotional or spiritual territory. I see how certain habits anchor you to places you've outgrown. I see how certain commitments drain your energy, leaving little room for the calling I am awakening within you. As these things fade from your hands, you might feel uncertainty, loss, or resistance because change rarely arrives without emotion. Yet beneath the emotion lies truth. You cannot carry everything into the next chapter. Certain burdens must be released so your steps can quicken with purpose. I am clearing your path, not to deprive you, but to prepare you. What remains in your life will be what strengthens you. What leaves will be what no longer contributes to your future. You will breathe more freely as these weights fall away, and you will see how much clearer your decisions become. Your spirit will feel lighter. Your mind will feel more focused. Your heart will feel more willing to embrace what comes next. Every removal is connected to where you are going. Allow yourself to loosen your grip on what no longer serves your destiny. Trust my hand as I reshape your surroundings. You are being prepared for momentum, and anything that slows your steps cannot remain. You may not fully recognize it yet, but something inside you has grown too large, too wise, too seasoned for the smaller version of yourself you once tried to maintain. You have carried an identity shaped by past limitations, old insecurities, and environments that asked you to shrink in order to keep the peace. Those seasons taught you survival, but they did not reflect the fullness of who you were created to become. I watched you silence your own voice to avoid conflict, restrain your own strength to avoid intimidating others, and step back even when your spirit longed to rise. These habits did not develop overnight. They formed through years of being misunderstood, undervalued, or overlooked. Yet now, the maturity within you can no longer tolerate the pressure of confinement. You outgrew those smaller spaces the moment your heart awakened to deeper purpose. You sense this shift when your spirit resists old roles you once slipped into easily. You feel it when conversations drain you because they no longer match your depth. You notice it when you cannot pretend to be less wise, less capable, or less prepared than you actually are. This is not pride. This is truth awakening. Your identity is expanding into its rightful form, and for that reason, diminishing yourself is no longer an option. The cost is too high. Drinking your presence weakens your purpose. Silencing your voice delays your calling. Hiding your gifts deprives the world of what I placed inside you. The moment you try to step back, there is an internal uneasiness that rises because your spirit recognizes the contradiction. You are stepping into a season where authenticity carries power, where confidence carries weight, and where your true identity will become the foundation of your influence. You do not need to become louder or forceful. You simply need to stop hiding. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be strong. You are allowed to walk with clarity and conviction. What once felt too bold will soon feel natural, because you are aligning with the design I placed within you long before fear taught you to shrink. The world around you may not fully understand the shift, and some may prefer the older version of you that fit neatly into their expectations. Do not allow that to shape your decisions. I am inviting you into a life where diminishing yourself is no longer permitted, because your destiny requires the unfiltered truth of who you are. Stand as the person I formed you to be, without apology and without retreat. Your growth is not a threat. It is a calling. And the moment you embrace your full stature, the path ahead will open with clarity you have not seen before. You may feel a stirring that pushes you toward visibility, even though part of you still longs for the safety of remaining unseen. This tension reveals the shift taking place within your destiny. You learn to hide as a means of protection from judgment, from disappointment, from being misunderstood, and from carrying responsibilities that once felt too heavy. Hiding allowed you to gather strength during seasons when your heart felt fragile. It gave you space to heal from setbacks and to rebuild what life had shaken. Yet the time for concealment has reached its end. I am calling you out of the spaces where you tucked away your potential. You sense this call when opportunities draw you forward even though hesitation whispers in the back of your mind. You sense it when people begin noticing qualities you never intended to display. You sense it when your spirit nudges you to step into roles that require courage and exposure. This call is not about attention. It is about purpose. Your voice carries wisdom that others need. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your journey contains truths that can guide those who feel lost. Remaining hidden may feel comfortable, but it no longer aligns with who you have become. You are not being exposed to be harmed. You are being positioned to be effective. The gifting within you has matured, and it is ready to serve. You may fear stepping forward because you remember seasons when you felt unprepared. Those memories no longer define you. Experience shaped you in ways you do not fully recognize yet. Strength grew in the silence. Vision sharpened in solitude. Wisdom deepened in reflection. The time you spent in hiding was purposeful, but it was never intended to be permanent. I am calling you into rooms that require your insight, into conversations where your perspective carries weight, and into opportunities where your influence is needed. You do not need to rush or force your arrival. Simply stop retreating when I nudge you forward. I am with you as you step into visibility. You will not stand exposed and vulnerable. You will stand covered and empowered. Allow yourself to rise. Allow your voice to carry. Allow your gifts to be seen. Your hiding season protected you, but your destiny now calls you into the open, where the fullness of who you are can finally unfold. You may wonder why everything inside your life seems to be shifting at once, but this movement is connected to a deeper pull that has been active within you since the beginning. Purpose is not a vague concept or an abstract idea. It is the internal compass I placed inside your spirit, guiding you toward what your life was meant to release into the world. Even during seasons when you felt disconnected from meaning, purpose continued to pulse quietly beneath the surface. You felt it during moments of restlessness, during unexpected bursts of passion, during nights when your thoughts refused to settle. That call has been consistent, even when you didn't know how to interpret it. Now, the stirring has intensified because the timing for your purpose has matured. The wheels of destiny move in response to this timing, pushing your life in a direction you might not fully understand yet. You may feel the acceleration in your decisions, in your relationships, and even in your mindset. What once felt optional now feels essential. What once felt distant now feels urgent. Purpose carries its own gravity, drawing you toward experiences that shape your calling and away from distractions that drain your energy. This gravitational pull is not pressure meant to overwhelm you. It is guidance designed to align you. When you notice desires shifting, it is purpose calling. When you feel courage rising despite uncertainty, it is purpose awakening. When situations no longer fit who you are becoming, it is purpose redirecting your path. You may try to slow the momentum because the unknown feels intimidating, yet the movement persists. This persistence is not a force controlling you. It is the natural rhythm of destiny responding to the maturity of your identity. You are ready for more than you realize. Purpose does not awaken too early or too late. It emerges when you have grown strong enough to embrace its weight. Everything you endured prepared you for what now calls your name. The wheels turn because you reached a point where your life can no longer remain in the position it once occupied. Purpose has summoned the next chapter, and the path ahead will continue unfolding in ways that reflect who you were always meant to be. Trust the momentum. Trust the invitation. Trust the rise within you. Purpose calls because you are ready to answer. You may not realize it yet, but the very moments that once felt capable of undoing you have begun transforming into the foundation of a strength you never expected to carry. Those seasons you endured, the ones that drained your confidence, tested your endurance, and pushed your emotions to their limits, were not meant to destroy your spirit. They revealed a depth inside you that could only be uncovered under pressure. I watched you move through circumstances you didn't feel prepared for, and even in the moments when you doubted your own resilience, something within you refused to collapse. What once felt like unbearable weight is now becoming the very structure that supports your next chapter. You learn lessons about loyalty, discernment, perseverance, and self-worth that ordinary seasons could never have taught you. There were days when you felt misunderstood or overlooked, yet those experiences sharpened your awareness and deepened your compassion. You gained insight into people, into your own heart, and into the ways I guide you even when clarity is hidden. All of this built a foundation that now strengthens your steps. The pain you carried will no longer define you. Instead, it will empower you with wisdom that others will seek. The nights you spent wrestling with doubt gave you spiritual sensitivity you will use in places I am preparing to send you. You may still feel remnants of the weight, but look closer. It no longer crushes you. It has become part of your structure, shaping you into someone who can stand firm in seasons where others falter. Nothing you endured was wasted. Nothing you survived was meaningless. The pressure that once threatened your peace will now support your purpose. You have emerged with clarity, depth, and inner authority. What once felt like breaking has become building, and that strength will carry you into the future with a confidence rooted not in ease, but in transformation. You may be wondering why everything around you seems to be moving at a quicker pace, as if life has suddenly shifted into a realm you didn't anticipate. But this acceleration is the evidence that destiny has reached for you with intentional force. Your spirit feels the pull before your mind understands it. Opportunities appear more quickly. Old situations lose relevance faster than you can process, and inner clarity arrives at moments when you least expect it. This is not chaos. It is alignment unfolding with speed. The reason the pace feels intense is because the preparation within you has reached maturity. You are no longer in a season of waiting for foundation. The foundation is complete. You may feel a mix of excitement and hesitation as you sense the pace increasing, but acceleration is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to carry you. I am removing what slows you, elevating what strengthens you, and positioning you where your impact grows naturally. You will notice that certain decisions become easier, certain opportunities draw near without effort, and certain internal doubts begin to quiet. These shifts are signs that the speed of destiny is matching the growth within you. Do not assume this acceleration is a sign to panic or retreat. It is a sign that you have stepped into the current of your calling, and the current moves swiftly. You are being pulled forward because the timing for your influence has arrived. What felt distant is now approaching. What seemed impossible is becoming attainable. What once required immense effort will now open by momentum rather than strain. Trust the pace, even if it surprises you. You are not losing control. You are gaining alignment. Destiny is drawing you forward because you are ready to walk in the fullness of who you have become. You may sense the subtle shift beneath your feet, as though life itself is guiding you toward a direction you did not consciously choose. And this sensation is evidence that you have stepped into a transition I designed with careful intention. This is not a random change or a sudden disruption. It is a divinely aligned movement that has been forming behind the scenes long before you recognized it. I have been rearranging circumstances, refining your heart, and preparing your mind so that you would be ready when the moment arrived. This transition carries purpose, and it is woven with threads of wisdom, protection, and opportunity. You might notice that certain desires have changed, or that old motivations no longer carry the same pull they once had. These inner adjustments are signs of the alignment taking place within you. I am preparing you to move from one season to another, from a place of survival into a place of intentional growth, from patterns that kept you stagnant into environments where your purpose can breathe. You may feel uncertain at times because transitions often challenge your sense of stability. Yet do not interpret this as loss. See it as preparation. I am guiding you step by step, even in areas where clarity feels incomplete. When I orchestrate transitions, nothing is wasted, nothing is rushed, and nothing is overlooked. You are being invited to release what no longer aligns with where you are going. This may involve letting go of certain routines, roles, or expectations you once relied on. It may require courage to step away from familiar spaces that no longer nurture your growth. Yet within this process, I am creating room for what will support you more deeply. The changes unfolding will bring you toward relationships that understand your calling, environments that fuel your purpose, and opportunities that reflect the maturity you have gained. Trust the sense of shifting you feel inside. Trust the quiet nudges drawing you forward. Trust the timing that may feel unfamiliar but is perfectly aligned with the preparation I have done within you. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into intention. Every part of this transition serves a purpose, and as you surrender to the movement, the path ahead will become clearer. You are entering a season designed specifically for your growth, and as you walk through it, you will see how perfectly each piece fits into the story I am unfolding through your life. You may feel the pull of old patterns trying to reclaim you, yet something within you refuses to slip back into the version of yourself that once felt familiar, because that version no longer fits the person you have become. The growth you experienced, often quietly, sometimes painfully, has reshaped you in ways you cannot undo. The insights you gained, the strength you developed, the resilience you forged, and the clarity you uncovered have expanded your identity far beyond the boundaries of who you used to be. Returning to old habits or mindsets would create conflict within you, not because those parts were inherently wrong, but because they belong to a chapter that has closed. You may look back at times when life felt simpler and feel a longing to recapture that ease, yet what you remember as simplicity was often built on limited vision, untested strength, or suppressed desires. Growth requires stepping beyond simplicity and embracing the fullness of your evolving identity. You have begun to see the world differently, and more importantly, you have begun to see yourself differently. A shift cannot be reversed. The choices you made, the healing you embraced, and the lessons you learned have altered your internal landscape. You cannot unknow what you learned about your worth. You cannot ignore what you discovered about your potential. You cannot silence the parts of you that awakened during seasons of stretching. When you feel discomfort in old roles or spaces, it is because your spirit recognizes that those environments cannot sustain your current growth. You may attempt to revisit them for comfort, yet they no longer offer what they once did. The peace you seek now exists on a deeper level, and it requires movement forward rather than backward. I am guiding you away from who you were, not to erase your past, but to expand your destiny. The memories of who you used to be hold value because they reveal how far you have come, but they are not meant to define who you are becoming. The tools you gained in previous seasons will support you in new ones, yet the identity you carried then cannot hold the weight of your current calling. You are moving into territory that requires courage, maturity, and insight, qualities that emerged precisely because you grew beyond your former self. Trust the resistance you feel when you attempt to return to old versions of yourself. That resistance is wisdom. It is your spirit recognizing that the past cannot sustain the future you are stepping into. You cannot return to who you were, because who you were is too small for who you are meant to become. You may feel something stirring within you, an inner movement that seems to come from a place deeper than memory, and this sensation marks the awakening of gifts you once carried without fully understanding their purpose. These gifts were planted in you long before life began shaping your personality, long before circumstances influenced your choices, and long before the world ever told you what you should or should not become. Over time, layers of responsibility, disappointment, and survival buried certain abilities that once flowed naturally. You adjusted to what life demanded from you and, in doing so, set aside parts of yourself that were not needed in those seasons. Now, as destiny draws you forward into a new chapter, those dormant gifts are rising again, ready to breathe, ready to take shape, ready to serve the purpose for which they were given. You may feel drawn to creative expressions, spiritual insights, leadership roles, or passions that once felt too distant to pursue. These desires are not random impulses. They are signs that what lay dormant is awakening. I am rekindling abilities that once brought you joy, confidence, and a sense of meaning. You might notice ideas coming to you at unexpected moments, as if inspiration flows without effort. Scenes from your younger years may resurface in your mind, not to stir nostalgia but to remind you of the original design woven into your identity. The dreams you once labeled unrealistic may begin tapping on your spirit again, urging you to reconsider what you dismissed. This awakening may surprise you because it feels both familiar and foreign at the same time. Familiar because these gifts were always part of you. Foreign because you've lived so long without them fully active. Allow this awakening to happen without fear. You are not going backward. You are reclaiming what should never have been forgotten. These gifts are returning because your life is expanding, and your purpose requires the full expression of who you were created to be. The world will recognize the value of these gifts, not because you force them into the open, but because their authenticity carries weight. They will strengthen your influence, deepen your wisdom, and open opportunities aligned with your calling. You may feel unsure of how to use them, yet you will be guided with clarity step by step. Trust the stirring within you. Trust the desires resurfacing. Trust the creativity rising in your spirit. These gifts are awakening now because the time has come for them to shape the next season of your destiny. You may be tempted to believe that certain dreams, relationships, opportunities, or inner qualities faded beyond recovery. But what you considered permanently lost has been undergoing quiet transformation beneath the surface of your life. The things you mourned, the plans that never materialized, the confidence that once felt steady, the hope that seemed to slip between your fingers, were never abandoned. They were placed in a season of restoration you could not see. There were moments when disappointment convinced you that certain chapters were over forever. You assumed that the timing had passed or that your mistakes had altered the outcome. Yet none of those conclusions reflect the reality of what has been unfolded. I have been working within the very places you believed were ruined. I have been reshaping the dreams you carried, refining them with maturity, wisdom, and clarity. I have been healing parts of your heart that once prevented you from fully embracing the blessings you desired. You may find this return surprising because it does not look like what you once expected. It comes with depth you did not possess before. It arrives with understanding you lacked in earlier seasons. It carries a strength that could only form through experience, reflection, and endurance. When something returns transformed, it does not come to repeat old patterns. It comes to elevate your path. The opportunities rising now will match your current strength, not your past insecurities. The relationships entering your life will honor your growth, not diminish your worth. The desires awakening in your spirit will align with your maturity rather than your former limitations. This return is not a reclamation of what was lost. It is an unveiling of what had been restored. You will recognize pieces of the past, yet they will carry new light, new clarity, and new purpose. Nothing that is meant for you slips permanently away. If it leaves, it returns renewed. If it fades, it reemerges refined. If it breaks, it is rebuilt with intention. What is coming back into your life has been shaped through my timing, my protection, and my understanding of who you are becoming. Trust that this return is not a step backward. It is evidence that I have been working in the unseen places, bringing forth a version of your blessing that matches the person you are now. You will not receive what you lost. You will receive what had been transformed, and it will fit your life in ways you once could not imagine. You may be sensing the weight of the path opening before you, and although a part of you feels ready, another part hesitates because you understand that stepping into this new chapter will require a deeper level of courage than you have needed before. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the posture of your heart when you move forward despite the uncertainty of what lies beyond the familiar. I am not asking you to feel brave every moment. I am inviting you to trust the strength that has been forming within you through every season you survived. You gained courage through experiences that forced you to confront your own doubts, through moments when you had no choice but to rise, and through battles that pushed you to find resilience you didn't know you carried. These experiences were never meant to break you. They trained you for the road unfolding now. You may feel intimidated by the unknown, yet the unknown is not your enemy. It is the place where trust becomes real, where faith becomes vibrant, and where new aspects of who you are begin to emerge. You will not walk this road with an empty heart. You carry wisdom, strength, and experience that you did not have in previous seasons. Every step you take will reveal more of the purpose I have been shaping within you. The courage required of you now is not about perfection. It is about willingness. You may stumble. You may second-guess yourself, and you may feel overwhelmed at times, yet none of these emotions disqualify you. Courage grows through action, and the moment you take a step, you will feel the confirmation you desire. I am not expecting you to navigate this path through sheer determination. I am guiding you with clarity, peace, and the quiet strength that whispers encouragement to your spirit when your mind feels unsure. As you move forward, you will discover that the challenges appearing before you are not obstacles meant to halt your progress. They are shaping tools, strengthening tools, refining tools. They mold your character, sharpen your focus, and deepen your understanding of your own capacity. Do not fear the moments that stretch you. They reveal your growth. Do not interpret resistance as a sign to retreat. Sometimes resistance confirms that you are moving in the right direction. The courage needed now is the courage to trust that you are capable of leading, capable of rising, capable of evolving, capable of embracing the future designed specifically for you. I am walking with you, step by step, breath by breath, decision by decision. You are not moving forward alone. What lies ahead holds beauty, purpose, and fulfillment, but you must approach it with a heart willing to be bold. Take the next step with confidence. You have more courage within you than you realize, and the road ahead will reveal just how strong you have become. You may feel the uncertainty pressing against your mind as you move into territory you cannot fully define. Yet in the very spaces where clarity seems thin, my presence becomes the most tangible thing surrounding you. The unknown often triggers old fears, fears of failure, fears of misdirection, fears of disappointment, but none of these fears reflect the truth of what is happening in your life. You are stepping into a landscape that requires trust, and trust becomes powerful when you cannot see the full picture. I am not asking you to navigate this new season by relying solely on your own understanding. I am asking you to lean into the assurance that I walk beside you, guiding your thoughts, grounding your heart, and steadying your steps even when the path feels uneven. The unfamiliar places you are entering are not meant to intimidate you. They are meant to reveal the strength of our connection. I have gone before you, preparing opportunities, lining relationships, and shaping circumstances long before you arrive. Even when you feel unsure, I am not unsure. Even when you question your pace, I am confident in the timing. Even when you wrestle with doubt, I hold the certainty of your future in my hands. You may worry about making the wrong decision or taking the wrong turn, yet my guidance will not fail you. There will be signs in your spirit, subtle impressions, moments of peace, gentle clarity that reveal which direction aligns with your purpose. You will notice that whenever you pause long enough to listen, your heart leans toward what is meant for you. In the unknown, intimidation fades when you recognize that the one leading you is not confused by the terrain. I see every path, every outcome, every detail. I understand the challenges you may face ahead, and I have already equipped you with what you will need to overcome them. The fears rising inside you are not prophecies. They are remnants of old seasons when you felt unprotected. This season is different. You are not walking blind. You are walking covered. When you step forward, you bring with you every lesson, every strength, every piece of wisdom gained from seasons that once felt overwhelming. The unknown will not consume you, it will shape you. It will reveal your capacity. It will unveil new layers of your identity. You are not navigating this alone. I am with you in every unknown turn, in every unfamiliar situation, in every decision that stretches your comfort. You are surrounded by my presence, supported by my wisdom and guided by my hand. Trust that each step you take, whether confident or hesitant, is held within a greater design. The unknown is simply the doorway through which your destiny enters. I will walk it with you, every moment, every breath, every step. You may feel tension rising around you, as if unseen resistance is trying to pull you backward. Yet nothing opposing you has the authority to overturn the work that has already begun within your life. There are moments when spiritual pressure intensifies, not because you are failing, but because you are stepping deeper into a path that carries divine purpose. You may interpret this pressure as a sign that something is wrong, yet it is often confirmation that something is profoundly right. When you grow, when you shift, when you align, resistance attempts to unsettle you. But every force that tries to hinder your progress stands powerless against what I have already established. Your future is not hanging by a fragile thread. It is anchored in my intention. You might recall seasons where setbacks felt overwhelming and losses appeared final. And yet you still rose, not through your own strength alone, but because my hand preserved your path. The same protection that sustained you then is strengthening you now. The movements unfolding in your life were not built on weak foundations. They were shaped by my timing, formed through my wisdom, and secured by my authority. No voice of doubt can silence what I declare. No circumstance can dissolve what I ordain. No attack can dismantle what I constructed. You may feel moments of vulnerability, yet vulnerability does not signify defeat. It simply means your heart recognizes the magnitude of the transition you are walking into. Trust that this inner awareness is a reminder of how deeply I am involved in your journey. The plans forming around your life were not created to collapse the moment opposition arises. They are fortified. They are guarded. They are irreversible. When fear whispers that your progress could be undone, remember how many times I sustained you when you thought you could not continue. When discouragement tries to convince you that your efforts are wasted, recall the unseen battles I already fought on your behalf. I am not passive in your story. I am actively preserving the movement of destiny within you. The chapters ahead cannot be rewritten by forces that do not understand your calling. What is unfolding now carries the imprint of heaven, and the imprint cannot be erased. Even when you encounter obstacles, they cannot reverse the path. I will turn them into stepping stones. Even when you face opposition, it cannot halt your journey. I will use it to sharpen your resolve. You do not walk an insecure road, you walk a protected one. Every step forward is reinforced by my presence. The resistance you feel is weak compared to the strength guiding you. What I have set in motion will continue, will flourish, and will mature in due time. This momentum is not fragile, it is unstoppable. You may look at the current shifts, disruptions, and unexpected changes surrounding your life and assume everything is unraveling. Yet what appears chaotic from your perspective is part of a deliberate construction process from mine. There are seasons when the familiar must be dismantled before the new can be built. Not because the familiar was worthless, but because it cannot contain the fullness of where your purpose is leading. You feel the pressure of change pressing against your routines and expectations. Days that once felt predictable now feel scattered. Plans that once felt secure now feel uncertain. This disarray can create emotional uneasiness, making you wonder if you missed something or moved incorrectly. Yet the very places where you feel the ground shaking are the areas where I am laying new foundations. Construction rarely looks beautiful in its early stages. It is noisy, disruptive, and often confusing. Old structures are torn down, debris is shifted, and the environment transforms into something unrecognizable. But none of this is destruction. It is preparation. When I begin constructing something new in your life, whether it is a new mindset, a new direction, a new relationship, or a new identity, The process requires clearing out what once stood in the space meant for growth. You cannot walk into the next chapter while holding patterns that contradict your purpose. You cannot rise into new seasons while clinging to habits that drain your strength. You cannot carry outdated expectations into places designed for fresh vision. So I begin rearranging your inner and outer world, making room for the structure that will support your destiny. During this time, you might feel tension between what you want to hold on to and what I am gently removing. You might feel unsettled because the path looks different than the one you imagined. Yet every shift has meaning. Every unexpected turn holds purpose. Every uncomfortable moment signals construction rather than chaos. As you move through this season, pause long enough to notice what is emerging beneath the surface. You will see clarity forming where confusion once stood. You will feel strength developing where weakness once lingered. You will discover direction taking shape where uncertainty once clouded your vision. Nothing in your life is unraveling randomly. I am not allowing chaos. I am shaping a future you are ready to sustain. Trust the process, even when it feels unpredictable. Trust the changes, even when they stretch you. Trust that the tearing down is making room for something far stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you are becoming. The construction is purposeful. The chaos is temporary. The outcome will be the life you were designed to carry with confidence and grace. You may sense that the dynamics between you and certain people are shifting in ways you didn't expect, and although this change feels unsettling, it is part of a careful rearrangement designed to protect your future and strengthen your path. Relationships shape your direction more deeply than you often realize. Some connections nourish your purpose, while others drain your energy, cloud your clarity, or keep you anchored in seasons you have already outgrown. I see the silent tensions you tried to ignore, the conversations that leave you weary, and the moments when you suppress your truth to maintain peace with people who cannot discern the changes taking place inside you. These relational shifts are not punishments or coincidences. They are strategic adjustments that ensure your heart remains aligned with what I am building in your life. You may feel confusion or even guilt when certain connections begin to loosen. Yet deep within you, an honest part recognizes that the distance is necessary. You changed, and the relationships that once fit your life no longer fit the version of you that is emerging. Some people were sent for a season of growth, not a lifetime of accompaniment. Others were meant to teach you profound lessons that prepared you for a more mature chapter. Your role was meaningful, but the season of relying on them has ended. I am not removing people to leave you isolated. I am repositioning you so that those aligned with your calling can find their way into your life. You will notice that certain voices grow quieter while new, healthier voices begin to appear. You will feel a growing desire for relationships that respect your boundaries, understand your journey, and speak life into your purpose. This desire is evidence of the shift taking place inside you. Even the relationships that remain will go through adjustments. I am refining how you show up, how you communicate, and how you set boundaries. You will find yourself speaking with more honesty, engaging with more clarity, and withdrawing from patterns that once held you in emotional loops. Some people will rise to meet you with newfound respect, adapting to the changes occurring in your life. Others will resist, because your growth disrupts the comfort of past dynamics. Allow this rearrangement to unfold without resisting it. I see the relationships that will lift you, challenge you in healthy ways, and accompany you into the next stage of your calling. I see the people whose presence will shape you into stronger, wiser versions of yourself. I also see the connections that would hold you back if they remain unchanged. Trust that I am orchestrating every shift with precision. Trust that I am removing influence from those who cannot walk with you into the future. Trust that I am preparing space for the people who will honor the journey you are on. The relationships in your life are being rearranged not to diminish you, but to align you with the destiny I have already placed in motion. You may still feel confused about why certain relationships ended, why some people pulled away, or why you felt compelled to distance yourself from places and individuals who once felt essential. Yet clarity is approaching, and it will reveal the deeper purpose behind every separation you endured. At the time, these shifts felt painful and disruptive, as though pieces of your heart were being pulled in opposite directions. You questioned whether you were at fault, whether you misread the situation, or whether you failed to hold on to something meaningful. Yet the truth is gentler and far more purposeful than you realized. Not every person who enters your life is meant to accompany you into every chapter. Some lack the emotional maturity required to support the weight of your growth. Others were not ready to embrace the changes unfolding within you. Still others carried intentions or mindsets that would have interfered with the clarity and purpose I am establishing. You grew in ways they did not, and instead of celebrating the transformation, they felt threatened or disconnected by it. The separation you experienced did not occur because you were unworthy of loyalty. It occurred because your destiny required different company. If I had allowed every person you loved or trusted to remain, their influence would have shaped your decisions, slowed your progress, or limited your potential. Some would have encouraged you to settle in places beneath your calling. Others would have kept you tethered to old versions of yourself that no longer reflect who you are becoming. The grief you felt over these relational shifts was real, yet beneath that grief, something sacred was taking place. You were being protected from emotional weight that would have exhausted you, protected from expectations that would have stifled you, protected from paths that would have diverted you from your purpose. In the coming season, you will begin to see how necessary those separations truly were. You will recognize that the relationships meant to remain in your life grew stronger through your transformation rather than weaker. You will discover connections that meet you with maturity, honor, and balance. Relationships capable of walking with you on the path you are stepping into. You will encounter people who reinforce your vision instead of questioning it, who support your growth instead of resisting it, and who stand with you rather than holding you back. The clarity that is coming will not only bring understanding, it will bring peace. You will thank me for the separations that once broke your heart, because you will see how those very separations protected your destiny. Nothing was lost, only realigned. Nothing was taken, only transition. You will soon understand why certain people could not go with you, and when you see it, your heart will finally rest. You may not fully realize it yet, but the shifts taking place within and around you are preparing you for a level of influence that will require a stronger, more settled version of yourself than the one you carried in previous seasons. Influence is not about being seen or admired. It is about carrying a presence that shapes environments, decisions, and lives in ways that reflect depth rather than noise. I have been guiding you through experiences that strengthened your character, sharpened your discernment, and humbled your spirit, because true influence does not rest on charisma alone. It rests on inner stability. You have learned to recognize truth, even when it was difficult. You have learned to walk with integrity, even when it cost you relationships or opportunities. You have developed the wisdom to remain silent when you once felt compelled to defend yourself, and the courage to speak when silence would have compromised your growth. These lessons were not random. They were preparation. I am positioning you in spaces where your presence will carry weight, not through force but through authenticity. People will look to you for insight, not because you know everything, but because your spirit carries perspective shaped by experience and guided by my hand. The way you listen, the way you observe, and the way you understand others will draw opportunities you once thought were beyond your reach. There will be moments when your influence feels larger than what you believe you can manage, yet the strength formed in you is more capable than you realize. Influence is not about performing, it is about being aligned with purpose. This alignment is why I removed certain distractions, your work, certain relationships, and refined certain parts of your heart. I did not take anything from you. I shaped you to carry more. You may notice people responding differently to your presence, respecting your boundaries without explanation, and seeking your guidance more often. These are signs of the influence emerging within you. You may also notice new opportunities forming around your gifts, opportunities that require confidence, clarity, and trust in your own voice. Do not shrink from them. You were prepared for them. The path ahead will require you to step into rooms where your perspective will shift the atmosphere, where your endurance will inspire others, and where your wisdom will create impact beyond your understanding. You are not stepping into this alone. I will give you peace in moments where pressure rises, strength when the responsibility feels heavy, and direction when decisions feel complex. Influence is a mantle, not a moment, and you are being positioned to carry it with grace, humility, and courage. Trust where I am taking you. Trust what I have formed within you. Trust that you were designed to stand in places where your voice, presence, and purpose will shape lives in ways you once thought were impossible. You may feel a stretch inside your spirit, a pull toward possibilities that once felt too distant or too overwhelming to consider. And this inner expansion is the first sign that I am enlarging the territory of your life. Expansion rarely begins with outer opportunities. It begins with an internal widening, a shift in vision, a broadening of desire, and a rising awareness that you are capable of more than you previously believed. This stretching may feel uncomfortable because it challenges old definitions of who you thought you were and demands that you step away from limits you once accepted without question. But this discomfort signals that your life is shifting from containment into growth. I am expanding your territory in ways that will influence your relationships, your responsibilities, your impact, and your understanding of purpose. You may notice your thoughts reaching into new possibilities, envisioning paths you never considered, or feeling drawn toward areas that once intimidated you. Do not dismiss these inner stirrings. They are the blueprint of what I am unfolding. Expansion requires a heart willing to embrace more, even when more feels unfamiliar. You will find yourself drawn toward environments that challenge your creativity, strengthen your leadership, or call forth gifts you have kept quiet for too long. This pull is not coincidence. It is the manifestation of purpose growing within you. For expansion to take place, certain limitations must fall away. Old fears, outdated expectations, and past disappointments cannot dictate the territory I am giving you. You will sense yourself releasing those limits not because you force change, but because the new space I am opening before you makes the old boundaries irrelevant. As your territory expands, your influence will increase, your opportunities will broaden, and your interactions will carry more significance. You may feel moments of hesitation as you step into wider spaces, but hesitation is not a barrier. It is simply the mind adjusting to what the Spirit already recognizes as truth. The life you are walking into requires greater vision, deeper confidence, and a willingness to trust the unfamiliar. I will guide you through each step of this expansion. You will not enter these new territories unprepared or unsupported. You will find resources arriving at the right time, people aligning with your purpose, and clarity rising when decisions feel heavy. I am creating space for you, not just to exist, but to thrive. What lies ahead is not small, and neither are you. Allow your spirit to expand into the fullness of what I am placing before you. Your territory is increasing because your purpose is enlarging, and everything I am leading you into will reflect the growth, maturity, and strength that now define who you are becoming. You may feel a subtle pressure rising within you, as though the walls of your inner world are being quietly pushed outward, and this sensation marks the end of a season where limited thinking once shaped the boundaries of your life. Small thinking did not come from a lack of desire or intelligence. It was formed through wounds, disappointments, and the environments that taught you to expect less than what you were designed to carry. There were seasons when you learned to shrink your expectations so you would not feel the sting of unmet hopes. You convinced yourself to settle for what felt safe because dreaming beyond what you could control seemed too painful. Yet the person you are becoming can no longer live within those confines. I have been expanding your capacity through experiences that stretched your patience, tested your courage, and deepened your understanding. You may not have noticed it happening at first, but your vision has already begun to shift. You are asking different questions now. You feel a pull toward opportunities that demand boldness rather than caution. You sense that your life is meant to stretch into territory that once felt impossible. This shift is not an accident. It is purpose awakening. I am leading you away from patterns that kept you thinking small. Small thinking limited your faith, lowered your expectations, and restricted your decisions. But you have outgrown those limitations, and your inner being knows it. When you try to return to the comfort of smallness, something inside you becomes restless, because you are now aware of the magnitude of what I have placed in you. You may feel intimidated by the dreams that surface in your heart, yet that intimidation is simply your mind adjusting to a higher level of possibility. I am calling you to envision a life that aligns with your identity, not your fears. You will begin to notice how certain ideas that once felt unrealistic now feel within reach, not because circumstances suddenly changed, but because you have changed. You are ready to think beyond survival and step into purpose. You are ready to imagine a future filled with impact, fulfillment, and expansion. This season calls for greater courage, greater creativity, and greater expectation. I am opening doors that match your potential, not your past limitations. Walk through them with a mindset willing to grow. Release the belief that dreaming big is dangerous. Dreaming big is alignment. Allow me to expand your imagination, stretch your understanding, and awaken the parts of you that once settled for less. The season of small thinking is over because the future unfolding before you requires a heart and mind willing to embrace the magnitude of who you truly are. You may feel life moving faster than you anticipated, as though events are unfolding in rapid succession, and this acceleration may leave you wondering whether you're truly prepared for what is coming. Yet this speed is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to reveal how ready you already are. Acceleration is the natural expression of divine timing converging with personal growth. When you reach the point where internal maturity aligns with external opportunity, movement increases. This pace may feel unfamiliar because you grew accustomed to seasons where progress felt slow, delayed, or entirely still. During those periods, you questioned whether anything meaningful was happening beneath the surface. Yet much was developing in hidden places: strength, identity, resilience, clarity, and discipline. That hidden work created a foundation strong enough to sustain the momentum rising around you now. Acceleration often exposes insecurities you thought were gone, not to discourage you, but to give you the chance to release what cannot travel with you into the next stage. You may feel moments of hesitation, fearing you will miss something, or make a mistake, or fall behind. But acceleration is not chaos. It is precision. Every shift, every invitation, every door opening is connected to what I have aligned for your life. The rapid movement is intentional because the season you are entering requires swift obedience, clear focus, and a willingness to trust me beyond your comfort. Acceleration does not mean you must rush. It means you must remain responsive. You will notice that opportunities aligning with your purpose arrive with a sense of peace, even if they challenge your courage. You will feel an inner knowing that certain decisions must be made without delaying your destiny. This inner certainty is not pressure, it is guidance. I am giving you insight in real time, allowing you to discern what is meant for you and what is not. As momentum increases, you will find that what once confused you now becomes clearer. People who slowed your growth will naturally fade from your path. Habits that held you back will lose their grip. Desires that once distracted you will no longer hold your attention. Acceleration sharpens you, prepares you, and aligns you. Do not fear this pace. You are not being swept into something random. You are being carried into something prepared. Trust that I will give you strength for each step, clarity for each decision, and peace for each challenge. The momentum around you is not a threat. It is a sign that you are stepping into alignment with the destiny designed specifically for you. Embrace the acceleration. It is evidence that you are moving exactly where you need to be. You may feel a quiet intensity building within you, as though something deep in your inner world is being fortified, and this strengthening is not accidental. It is preparation for the path unfolding before you. Strengthening the spirit does not always come through ease or comfort. It forms through moments that stretch your faith, test your patience, and challenge your old ways of thinking. There have been seasons when you wondered why certain experiences felt heavier than you expected or why some lessons were so difficult to learn. Yet every one of those moments has been shaping the resilience, depth, and spiritual maturity required for the journey ahead. I have been building a steadiness inside you that circumstances cannot break. You may not recognize your own growth because it formed quietly, often in the background of days when you felt overwhelmed or uncertain. But your spirit has been strengthening in ways you will soon see clearly. You respond differently to situations that once destabilized you. You discern more quickly what aligns with your peace and what disrupts it. You recognize your worth more deeply, refusing to tolerate what once diminished you. These shifts are evidence that the foundation within you is becoming stronger than the challenges around you. This journey will require a spirit able to hold clarity and confusion, hope in hardship, and conviction in environments where others compromise. Strengthening your spirit does not mean removing your humanity. It means reinforcing your courage, anchoring your identity, and solidifying your trust in truths that cannot be shaken. I am teaching you how to carry peace even when circumstances fluctuate. I am guiding you to a place where you make decisions with confidence rather than hesitation. I am helping you develop endurance that will sustain you through transitions that might have once intimidated you. The growth unfolding inside you is not meant to make you harder. It is meant to make you wiser, more balanced, more spiritually attuned. The next steps in your journey will require clarity of mind, stability of heart, and strength of spirit, qualities that are developing within you even now. You may not feel strong every moment, yet strength is not measured by the absence of struggle. It is measured by your ability to remain grounded even when the world around you shifts. I am preparing you to carry influence without crumbling under pressure. I am preparing you to handle blessings without losing your humility. I am preparing you to navigate challenges without forgetting your identity. This strengthening is a gift, even if it feels demanding at times. Trust what I am building within you. Trust that the weight you feel is shaping capacity, not crushing it. You are becoming someone who can stand firm when others waver, someone who can see clearly when others are confused, someone who can advance with grace even when the path is difficult. I am strengthening your spirit because your destiny requires a depth of resilience that can only be formed through the journey you have walked and the one you are about to walk. You may carry a quiet fear that the magnitude of the changes unfolding could overwhelm you. Yet I assure you, this transition is not a trap or a test you are destined to fail. It is a guided passage into the next expression of your purpose, and I am ensuring your steps remain steady. Failure is the fear that shadows every significant change, whispering doubts whenever you approach something new. You worry that you might misinterpret my guidance, make the wrong decision, or fall short of what is expected from you. Yet none of these fears reflect the true foundation of this season. You are not walking into this transition alone. I have been preparing you, equipping you, and aligning you long before this moment arrived. The skills you developed, the lessons you learned, and the clarity rising within your spirit are all evidence that you are capable of navigating what lies ahead. This transition is structured, intentional, and supported by my presence. You may feel moments of uncertainty, but uncertainty does not equate to failure. It simply invites you to deepen your trust. The path I am leading you down will include steps that challenge your comfort, but challenge is not danger, it is development. You might feel the weight of responsibility increasing, yet this weight is matched by the strength I am awakening within you. I am orchestrating circumstances that will guide your decisions. You will notice signs of confirmation, conversations that align with your direction, opportunities appearing at the right moment, or unexpected clarity in situations that once confused you. These signs are not coincidences, they are assurances. The fears that rise within you are echoes of past seasons where you lacked support or understanding, but those seasons do not mirror the one you are in now. You are moving with wisdom that did not exist in your younger years. You are stepping forward with discernment sharpened by experience, compassion deepened by hardship, and insight strengthened through reflection. You may doubt your readiness, but readiness is not measured by how confident you feel. It is measured by how prepared you are. And you are more prepared than you know. Even if you make imperfect choices along the way, I will redirect you. Even if you hesitate, I will steady you. Even if you feel overwhelmed, I will carry you. You cannot derail what I have ordained. The transition before you is not fragile. It is fortified by my intention. You will not fail, because failure is impossible when I am the one guiding the movement of your life. Trust the process, trust your growth, and trust the quiet assurance rising within your spirit. You are stepping into a future designed specifically for you, and nothing in this transition will break you. You will rise through it. You may feel an unmistakable pull inside you, as though something ancient and sacred is awakening from deep within your soul, urging you to rise into a version of yourself you somehow always sensed but never fully understood. And this pull is guiding you back to the design I wrote into your being before the world ever touched you. Throughout your life, layers of expectation, pain, culture, responsibility, and survival formed around you, creating versions of yourself that helped you navigate each season. These versions were not lies, they were adaptations, but they were never meant to be your permanent identity. As you walk through this transition, those layers are beginning to loosen. Parts of your mind are opening to truths you once ignored. Parts of your heart are softening in places that once felt hardened. Parts of your spirit are stretching towards something greater than what you previously believed possible. This awakening is not a reinvention. It is a return. A return to the essence I placed within you before you experienced heartbreak, before you learned doubt, before you accepted limitations that were never yours. You may feel torn between who you were expected to be and who you truly are beneath the expectations, yet this tension is not confusion. It is alignment taking shape. I am calling forth qualities within you that have always existed. The courage you buried beneath fear, the creativity you tucked behind responsibility, the confidence you quieted to avoid rejection, the passion you dimmed to fit into smaller spaces. These qualities are re-emerging because the time has come for you to live from your original identity rather than a constructed one. The pull you feel is your spirit recognizing its true shape. This may challenge you emotionally because you are shedding beliefs and patterns that once made you feel safe. Letting go of these versions may feel like losing stability, but you are not losing anything essential. You are rediscovering what is eternal within you. Your original design carries clarity, direction, and purpose that no external validation can give or take away. When you move in alignment with this design, decisions become easier, boundaries become clearer, and peace replaces the constant noise of self-doubt. You start recognizing what belongs to you and what never did. You become less affected by the opinions of others because your identity is no longer tied to their approval. You begin stepping into opportunities with confidence, not because you feel perfect, but because you finally feel aligned. This is why the pull feels so strong. It is drawing you toward a life that fits your spirit instead of your fears. Trust this inward draw. Trust the identity rising within you. Trust the sense that you were made for more than what you once settled for. You are being pulled not into someone new, but into someone true. And as you walk toward your original design, life will begin responding to you in ways it never could when you were living beneath your true self. You may feel the faint flicker of something reigniting deep within you, something you thought had burned out long ago, and this flicker is the beginning of a restoration you did not even know how to ask for. There were seasons when life drained you of passion, when responsibilities piled upon your heart until joy felt distant, when disappointment dimmed your motivation, and when exhaustion muted your desire to dream. Slowly, without intention, you adjusted to a smaller flame. You moved through your days doing what needed to be done, yet a part of you remained numb, disconnected from the energy and passion that once fueled your spirit. You told yourself it was maturity, or reality, or simply how life works, but deep inside, you knew something sacred had dimmed. Now, in this season of destiny, I am breathing upon those ashes, not to return you to who you were, but to awaken a fire that is wiser, deeper, and more focused than any flame you carried in the past. This fire is not impulsive or reckless, it is purposeful. It does not burn chaotically, it burns with intention. You may feel a newfound excitement rising without warning, a desire to create, to try, to hope again. You may feel ideas stirring that you cannot ignore, or old dreams resurfacing with new meaning. These sensations may surprise you because you thought the part of you capable of such passion was gone. But nothing I place within you can truly die. It can only rest until it is time to rise again. The restoration happening inside you is not based on emotion. It is rooted in destiny. I am returning energy where weariness drained you. I am restoring inspiration where monotony dulled your spirit. I am renewing motivation where discouragement once reigned. This fire will give you the strength to pursue what aligns with your purpose, not out of desperation, but out of joy. You will begin waking up with clarity instead of heaviness. You will feel drawn to things that nourish your soul instead of things that numb your mind. You will gain momentum in places where you once felt stuck. This restoration may come gradually or suddenly, but it will come with unmistakable certainty. You will feel your confidence rising, your creativity flowing, your ambition returning, and your faith glowing with new warmth. That warmth is the evidence that your spirit is alive again. Let the fire return without resisting it. Do not question whether you deserve this renewal, you do. Do not fear whether it will fade again. It won't, because this fire is not built on emotion, but on transformation. I am restoring the fire you lost because the future you are stepping into requires a heart alive, a mind awakened, and a spirit burning with purpose. You may be looking at your life and wondering if you should have been further by now, if you missed a moment, if you hesitated too long, or if some unseen flaw caused you to fall out of rhythm with the future you hoped for. But I tell you with complete certainty, you are not late. and you have not fallen behind. Every step you have taken, even the ones you regret, has been woven into a timing far more intricate than you could perceive in the moment. Human timelines often measure progress through comparison, but destiny measures progress through alignment. There were seasons when you felt delayed, not because something was wrong with you, but because I was preparing the path you would one day walk. Some doors needed time to form. Some relationships needed to mature. Some environments needed to shift. Some wounds needed healing so they wouldn't follow you into the next phase of your journey. You see gaps where I see foundation. You see pauses where I see preparation. You see waiting where I see divine alignment. Consider the growth within you, discernment that only pain could have formed, wisdom that only time could have taught, strength that only challenges could have built. These qualities were not delays, they were building blocks. You could not have arrived earlier than you have now, because the version of you needed for this season did not yet exist. You are arriving now because you are ready now. Your spirit has developed depth, your heart has gained clarity, and your mind has awakened to the truth of who you are. Even the moments where you felt stuck were shaping something sacred within you. I did not waste a single season of your life, even the ones you didn't understand. If you had rushed ahead in earlier years, the weight of your destiny would have overwhelmed you. If you had stepped into certain opportunities too soon, the pressure would have crushed what I was trying to grow. But now, you stand in a moment where everything is converging. Your growth, your purpose, your strength, your courage. Do not let the illusion of time convince you that you miss something. What I have prepared for you is not fragile. What is meant for you does not slip away. I am aligning each step, each opportunity, each connection right on schedule. Trust that the pace of your life has been divinely arranged. You are not late. You are not off course. You are right on time, stepping into a season where everything finally begins to make sense in ways your heart has longed to understand. You may look back at certain moments in your life, those painful detours, unexpected endings, failures, and losses, and still feel the sting of disappointment. Yet what you labeled as setbacks were actually strategic setups guiding you toward a future far greater than what you imagined at the time. You saw doors closing and assumed rejection, but I saw misalignment and created redirection. You saw relationships unraveling and felt abandoned, but I saw the protection you could not yet comprehend. You saw plans collapse and felt defeated, but I was clearing space for opportunities that required your hands to be empty. I know those seasons were difficult. I know you questioned yourself, questioned your worth, questioned whether you misunderstood my guidance. Yet every confusing twist carried purpose. Not one tear, not one delay, not one disappointment existed without meaning. When you thought life was falling apart, it was actually falling into order. Some setbacks were necessary because you were connected to things that could not support the weight of your destiny. Others were necessary because you needed strength you did not yet have. Some were necessary because the timing had not reached maturity. And some were necessary because what you were asking for was too small compared to what I intended to give. In hindsight, you will see it clearly. You will look back at what you lost and realize the loss created room for what fits. You will look back at the doors that closed and realize they protected you from paths that would have drained your spirit. You will look back at the disappointments and recognize how they molded your character into something solid and resilient. Your setbacks trained you for influence. They taught you discernment. They forced you to confront truths you once avoided. They exposed relationships that could not walk into your future. They awakened gifts you would not have discovered otherwise. Even the pain had purpose. You walked through seasons you never wanted, but those seasons shaped a strength you now depend on. They prepared you for opportunities you could not have carried earlier. They built you into someone capable of stepping into greater assignments without collapsing under pressure. What you believed was a setback has placed you on the exact trajectory needed for elevation. You will soon see how the pieces connect, not in theory, but in reality. And when the clarity comes, you will understand that I never abandoned you, never punished you, never withheld good from you. I was crafting a setup so precise, so intentional, so necessary to your story that you will stand in awe at how everything you once mourned became the bridge into everything you were meant to receive. You may have noticed lately that certain opinions, pressures, and internal dialogues that once held power over you are beginning to lose their volume, and although you may not fully understand why, this quieting is intentional. I am removing the noise that has competed with your clarity for far too long. Throughout your life, many voices have influenced your decisions. Voices of expectation that told you who you should be. Voices of insecurity that questioned your worth. Voices of fear that distorted your vision. Voices of comparison that convinced you to undervalue yourself. And even voices from your past that lingered long after their purpose should have expired. These voices built a kind of invisible fog around your identity, making it difficult at times to discern what was true, what was projection, and what was rooted in old wounds. As you enter this new season, such fog can no longer remain. So I am quieting the external noise and dismantling the internal echoes that have disguised themselves as truth. You may notice that certain criticisms no longer sting the way they once did, or that opinions you used to chase now feel strangely irrelevant. You may find yourself uninterested in engaging with people who drain your energy or conversations that shift you away from peace. These are signs that clarity is rising within you. I am not removing your sensitivity, I am restoring your discernment. I am teaching you to recognize the difference between guidance and pressure, between wisdom and fear, between conviction and confusion. Some voices in your life may fade naturally, while others may require intentional boundaries. But as these influences diminish, your inner world will begin to settle in ways you have not experienced before. The stillness forming within you is not emptiness, it is alignment. It is the clearing of emotional clutter so you can hear your own spirit, your own intuition, your own truth with greater strength. You will begin to recognize what aligns with your identity without second-guessing yourself. You will see the path forward without being swayed by opinions that once carried too much weight. You will feel more connected to your purpose because there is finally room within your heart for purpose to speak. As I silence these distracting voices, you may feel moments of discomfort, simply because you grew accustomed to the noise. But let the quiet settle. Let the peace take root. Let the clarity form. For the first time in a long time, you will hear your true self rising, steady, confident, grounded. And what emerges from this silence will guide you with a strength deeper than anything you have known before. You may sense that your perception is shifting, as though you are beginning to see beneath the surface of things, and this increasing clarity is not imagination. It is discernment rising within you because the next stage of your life requires a sharper, wiser, and more spiritually attuned version of you. Discernment grows not through comfort, but through contrast, through experiences that taught you who to trust, who to release, what environments nurture your purpose and what environments pull you away from yourself. You learn through missteps as much as through victories. You learn through the pain of misplaced trust, through the weight of wrong decisions, and through the realization that not every open door is meant for you. These lessons were not punishments, they were preparation. They trained your intuition. They refined your sensitivity. They sharpened your internal compass. And now, as you step into deeper territory, that compass must guide you with precision. I am elevating your ability to sense what is genuine, what is manipulative, what is aligned, and what is counterfeit. You may find yourself noticing the motives behind words rather than just the words themselves. You may feel the energy of a room before anyone speaks. You may sense when someone is being honest or when they are hiding something, even if their message sounds convincing. You will be able to identify opportunities that look appealing yet carry no true substance, and you will recognize opportunities that appear small but hold great purpose. You will know when to move, when to pause, and when to walk away. This elevation of discernment is meant to protect your peace, preserve your time, and position you in alignment with your destiny. As your discernment rises, some people may claim you are becoming distant, harder to access, or less willing to tolerate certain behaviors. They may not understand that your boundaries are not walls. They are filters that ensure only what strengthens your purpose gains access to your life. Elevated discernment creates space for healthier relationships, clearer decisions, and deeper wisdom. It strengthens your ability to take responsibility without taking on burdens that were never yours. It allows you to identify emotional traps that once kept you circling the same patterns. This clarity may surprise you at times because you will recognize truths you once overlooked. You will see a way that you feel you. You will detect subtle shifts in others that once went unnoticed. This is not cynicism, it is maturity. It is your spirit awakening to truth without fear. And with this discernment, you will navigate the path ahead with confidence, making choices not out of insecurity but out of alignment. I am elevating your discernment because what you are stepping into requires vision that sees deeper, hears clearer, and understands beyond the surface. This gift will protect you, guide you, and prepare you for every opportunity waiting in the chapters ahead. You may feel an inner restlessness growing stronger each day, as if the space around you is shrinking, and this sensation is not dissatisfaction. It is revelation, signaling that the environment you once thrived in can no longer sustain the person you are becoming. Growth always disrupts comfort. When your spirit begins expanding, the atmosphere that once felt supportive begins to feel restrictive. The conversations that once energized you now feel shallow. The routines that once gave you structure now feel confining. Even certain relationships that were once nurturing may now feel misaligned with your evolving identity. This shift does not mean you are ungrateful or that you are abandoning where you came from. It means your destiny is calling you into a space that reflects your new level of clarity, strength, and purpose. Every major transition in your life has been accompanied by a shift in environment. Sometimes physical, sometimes emotional, sometimes relational, sometimes spiritual. You may be noticing subtle signs, certain commitments losing their pull, certain environments feeling heavier than before, certain dreams pulling you toward unfamiliar territory. This is not confusion. It is preparation. I am guiding you toward environments where your gifts can breathe, where your voice can carry weight, where your growth is not seen as a threat, and where your spirit is nourished rather than drained. Some environments limit your imagination. They convince you to expect less, to stay small, or to conform to expectations that no longer align with who you are. Remaining in such places would eventually suffocate your destiny. The expansion occurring within you is signaling that the atmosphere around you must shift as well. This may involve stepping into new circles that challenge you in healthy ways, pursuing opportunities that require courage, or even simply distancing yourself from spaces that drain your energy. Changing environments does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it begins with quiet adjustments in what you tolerate, what you engage with, and what you allow to influence you. You may experience grief as you shift away from familiar surroundings, but grief does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means you are releasing what once fit but no longer aligns with your future. Trust the discomfort. Trust the pull. Trust the truth rising in your heart, even when you cannot explain it to others. I am leading you into environments where your spirit will flourish, where your creativity will awaken, and where your potential will stretch into its full expression. There is more for you. More space, more opportunity, more alignment. And the moment you step into the environment designed for your next season, you will feel your soul exhale in recognition, knowing you have finally arrived where you were meant to grow. You may feel waves of emotional tension surfacing, old patterns, familiar temptations, past fears attempting to re-emerge, and though this may feel unsettling, it is actually a sign that cycles which once kept you trapped are losing their power for the final time. Cycles rarely break quietly. They resist, they flare up, they try to reclaim you in subtle ways because they have shaped your behavior for years. These cycles may have formed through generational patterns, past trauma, unhealthy relationships, or seasons where survival shaped your habits more than purpose did. You learned to respond in certain ways without even realizing those responses were rooted in wounds rather than identity. But now, as you step into a higher level of clarity and maturity, these old patterns cannot remain. That is why you feel the tension. It is the sound of chains weakening. It is the friction between who you were and who you are becoming. It is the spiritual evidence that cycles which operated in silence for years are finally being exposed to the light. You may notice yourself questioning behaviors you once accepted as normal, recognizing red flags that previously felt familiar, or feeling resistance toward habits you used to indulge without thought. This awareness is not weakness, it is awakening. It means the grip of old cycles is breaking. You are not fighting these cycles alone. I am confronting the lies that shaped your self-perception, healing the wounds that made you settle, and strengthening the areas where you once felt powerless. Patterns such as people-pleasing, self-sabotage, overthinking, isolation, mistrust, emotional numbness, or fear of intimacy are being dismantled layer by layer. Some days you will feel victorious. Other days you may feel vulnerable. But each moment of awareness, each choice toward growth, each boundary you establish is proof that the cycle is collapsing under the weight of your transformation. You will no longer repeat what hurt you. You will no longer attract what drained you. You will no longer tolerate what diminished you. As these cycles break, space will open within you. Space for new perspectives, new opportunities, new relationships, and new habits aligned with your purpose. You may feel emotional fatigue as this shift occurs, but it is temporary. It is the exhaustion that follows spiritual excavation. When the cycle finally breaks, you will feel a lightness you forgot was possible. You will think differently, choose differently, love differently, and dream differently. What once pulled you backward will lose its voice. What once tempted you will lose its appeal. What once controlled you will lose its access. I am breaking every cycle that held you, not partially, not temporarily, but completely. And once it breaks, you will rise into a version of yourself that the old patterns will never be able to reach again. You may feel an unfamiliar calm beginning to settle into places where tension once lived. And even though part of you wonders whether this peace is temporary, it is a sign that a profound shift has taken place. The season where you had to fight for every inch, push through exhaustion, and carry more weight than your heart was designed to bear is coming to an end. Striving is what happens when you believe everything depends on your own strength, timing, strategy, or perfection. It creates a constant pressure to perform, to predict, to control outcomes that were never meant to be controlled by human hands. You fell into striving because life taught you to survive through effort. People taught you to earn love, opportunities, or acceptance. Pain taught you to stay on alert. Disappointment taught you to expect resistance. None of this was your fault. You did what you needed to do in seasons where survival mattered more than peace. But now, the chapter you are entering requires a different posture, one rooted in trust rather than tension. You may find old habits of striving trying to rise again, telling you that rest is irresponsible or that ease is a trap. Yet these thoughts do not belong to this season. I am teaching you to move with intention rather than urgency. I am training your heart to recognize that progress built through alignment is stronger than progress built through exhaustion. As you release striving, you will notice that clarity comes more naturally. Decisions feel less heavy. Peace settles faster. You begin to operate from a place of purpose instead of pressure. Relationships become healthier because you are no longer overextending yourself just to keep the peace. Opportunities come to you rather than needing to be forced open. In this new season, I will equip you differently. You will walk with wisdom that lightens your load. You will receive insight in moments where you once relied solely on logic. You will feel guided rather than burdened. Productivity will remain, but pressure will not. You will still work, but not with fear. You will still move forward, but not with panic. You will stop over-explaining yourself. Stop overthinking every decision. Stop carrying responsibilities that do not belong to you. Striving kept you alive in an earlier chapter, but alignment will carry you in the next one. Let this peace rise without suspicion. Let it teach you a new rhythm. Let it show you how much more powerful you are when you are not drowning in expectation. The season of striving has ended because you have entered a time where grace will meet you in every step, opening doors that effort alone never could. You may begin noticing a gentle but unmistakable pull in your decisions, as though invisible hands are shaping your direction, and this sensation is not coincidence. It is my guidance becoming clearer as you prepare to walk deeper into your purpose. Guidance often begins subtly, a feeling that something is right before you can explain why, a sudden disinterest in paths you once pursued, a surprising confidence rising in areas that used to intimidate you. You may not see it with your eyes, but your spirit can sense when I am leading you. I guide you not through force, but through alignment, through peace that overrides confusion, through conviction that silences doubt, through timing that reveals what effort could not. You have spent years learning to recognize the difference between your own anxiety and my direction, and now that maturity is becoming one of your greatest strengths, you will begin to discern my presence within your intuition, your desires, and your decisions. You will sense when to move and when to pause. You will recognize when an opportunity is meant for you or when it is simply a distraction dressed as potential. Guidance is not always loud. Sometimes it feels like the soft closing of a door you once wanted to walk through, and sometimes it feels like an unexpected opening in a place you never considered. I will guide you emotionally by giving you discomfort in situations where you do not belong and peace in situations aligned with your purpose. I will guide you mentally by bringing clarity to thoughts that once felt tangled. I will guide you spiritually by awakening deeper understanding, connection, and discernment. This guidance will become so natural that you will look back and realize I was orchestrating details you didn't even notice at the time. You may worry about missteps, but I will ensure that even your detours lead you back to alignment. You will not have to fear missing my direction, because I will make the right path undeniable when the moment arrives. The more you trust this guidance, the clearer it becomes. The more you quiet the noise around you, the easier it is to hear. The more you release the fear of making mistakes, the more confidently you will walk. You will feel my hand guiding you in conversations where words matter, in decisions that shape your future, in relationships that influence your heart, and in opportunities that set the trajectory of your purpose. Nothing about this season will be random. Nothing about your movement will be wasted. As you continue forward, you will sense my presence not as a distant concept, but as a steady influence shaping your every step. You will feel held, directed, and supported, even when circumstances shift around you. This guidance will be your anchor, your compass, and your assurance that you are walking exactly where you are meant to be. You may feel as though your inner world has been carrying storms that no one else can see, waves of uncertainty, pockets of fear, unspoken worries that visit you in quiet moments, and yet, even in the midst of this internal turbulence, I am drawing near with a peace that does not come from your circumstances but from my presence resting upon you. This peace does not demand that everything around you be perfect, nor does it require every question to have an answer. Instead, it arrives softly, like a warm hand placed upon the center of your chest, calming the rhythm of a heart that has been beating too fast for too long. You have carried responsibilities that stretched you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You have held yourself together in moments when you felt like unraveling. You have walked through seasons where you couldn't articulate your inner battles, even to those who cared. This turbulence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was the natural consequence of being pulled into deeper transformation. You have been shedding old patterns, confronting long-held fears, and stepping into greater clarity, and such shifts often awaken internal resistance. Yet now, I am quieting the noise inside you. You will begin noticing peace arriving in unexpected ways. In moments when anxiety would normally rise, you will feel a settling instead. In conversations that used to overwhelm you, you will feel grounded. In decisions that once triggered fear, you will feel guided rather than pressured. This peace will not erase your humanity, but it will steady your emotions so they no longer control your direction. I am helping you release tension you've carried for years, tension in your mind, tension in your body, tension in your expectations of yourself. You may feel yourself breathing differently, thinking differently, responding differently. This shift is not temporary. It is the beginning of a deeper peace that will follow you into every environment. As peace enters your life, it will expose what used to fuel your turbulence, the voices that drained you, the habits that exhausted you, the patterns that left you anxious. You will no longer tolerate what steals your peace, because peace has become your new standard. You will recognize that calm is not the absence of movement, but the presence of alignment. I am breathing peace into every unsettled place inside you, not just to comfort you, but to strengthen you. This peace will become your anchor when the world shifts, your clarity when emotions rise, your safety when uncertainty surrounds you. Let this peace fill you without resisting it. Allow it to touch the places you never thought could quiet down. You are entering a season where your spirit will be steadier than your circumstances, because I am placing peace within you that no storm can disrupt. You may feel the temptation to look over your shoulder, to question whether the life you left behind was safer, simpler, or easier than the path unfolding ahead. But I assure you, the wheels of destiny only turn forward, and every movement of your life is pulling you into progression, not regression. There are moments when the unknown feels intimidating, and nostalgia paints the past in softer colors than it deserves. You remember the familiarity of old seasons, even if they were small or limiting, because familiarity can feel comforting when your spirit is stepping into uncharted territory. But I am not calling you backward. I am not leading you in circles. I am not returning you to places where your identity was restricted, your voice was muted, or your purpose was restrained. You have grown too much to fit back into spaces that once felt adequate. The shifts occurring within you, your sharpened discernment, your rising confidence, your renewed fire, are evidence that forward is the only direction that aligns with who you are becoming. When old temptations, old relationships, or old mindsets attempt to re-enter your life, it is not because they belong in your future, but because the final remnants of your past are testing your commitment to transformation. Do not interpret these moments as signs that you are meant to turn around. They are simply echoes fading as you step into new territory. The wheels of destiny do not pause and they do not retreat. Each step you've taken, even the ones that felt insignificant, have been part of a larger movement carrying you into purpose. You may not always feel momentum, but your spirit knows when forward motion has taken over. Because your desires begin to change, your standards rise, your expectations deepen, and your vision widens. These are not traits of someone returning to an old life. They are the marks of someone evolving beyond it. I am guiding you into opportunities that could never have existed in your previous seasons. I am shaping you for environments that require the strength you gain through every hardship. I am aligning you with people who will meet the newer, truer version of you with understanding rather than resistance. If you turn back, you would have to shrink. You would have to silence parts of yourself that have only just begun to speak. You would have to limit the very qualities I've been awakening. Trust that your destiny knows exactly where it is taking you. Trust the pull forward, even when the path feels unfamiliar. Trust that what lies ahead carries more promise, more peace, and more purpose than anything you left behind. There is nothing behind you that can compare with what is coming. Keep walking. The wheels of destiny are turning, and they will not turn back. You may feel as though you are standing at an invisible doorway, one your spirit recognizes even if your mind cannot fully articulate it. And the moment you step through this threshold, something within you will shift permanently, marking a point of no return in the best and most transformative way. Thresholds are not merely moments of change. They are moments of becoming. They separate who you were from who you are rising into. For weeks, months, or even years, you have sensed this transition building quietly inside you. At times it felt like anticipation, at times like restlessness, and at times like an inner stretching that would not allow you to settle. All of this has been leading you to the threshold now before you. Stepping through it does not require perfection or certainty. It requires willingness. It requires openness to the new identity forming within you. It requires the courage to release the comfort of familiar patterns, even those that once helped you survive. When you cross this threshold, your perspective will broaden. You will no longer respond from old emotional wounds or outdated mindsets. Decisions that once caused confusion will become clearer. The doubts that followed you for years will lose their grip. The insecurities that shaped your choices will no longer have authority. This threshold is spiritual in nature. It is the doorway where your old self steps back and your true self rises. You may feel this shift physically as a sense of lightness, mentally as a wave of clarity, or emotionally as an unexpected peace. You may feel a deeper sense of purpose, even if the details are not fully visible yet. Crossing this threshold means you will not return to patterns that once held you captive. It means the cycles that controlled you are losing power. It means the fears that silenced you are being replaced with conviction. You cannot cross this and remain the same. You cannot pass through and revert to old versions of yourself, because the person you have become has outgrown those versions completely. Even if you tried to return, it would feel unnatural, uncomfortable, and misaligned. It is evidence that you are moving forward. As you step through, I will meet you with strength. I will meet you with clarity. I will meet you with opportunities that match your new identity. This threshold is not a barrier. It is an invitation. You are walking into deeper purpose, truer alignment, and greater influence. And once you cross it, nothing behind you will ever hold the same power again. You may feel subtle shifts occurring within your sense of self. Small moments where you speak with more conviction, think with more clarity, or make decisions with a firmness that surprises you. And this is because I am restoring and rebuilding a confidence that life once tried to diminish. Confidence is not simply the belief that you can achieve something. It is the recognition of who you are, the acceptance of your worth, and the acknowledgement of the strength I placed within you long before your circumstances attempted to reshape your identity. Your confidence was not destroyed. It was buried beneath years of disappointment, criticism, unmet expectations, and environments that could not see your value. You internalized voices that were never meant to define you. You carried doubts that never belonged to you. You questioned your gifts because those around you lacked the ability to recognize them. This rebuilding is dismantling all of that. I am returning you to the truth of your identity. You may notice yourself no longer apologizing for taking up space. You may find yourself setting boundaries you once felt guilty enforcing. You may feel a new steadiness rising when old insecurities attempt to whisper lies. These are signs that confidence is being restored from a deeper place, not from ego, but from alignment. I am addressing the places where you felt small, the memories that made you question your abilities, and the emotional wounds that convinced you to shrink yourself. You will begin trusting your decisions more, because you are no longer making them from fear but from clarity. You will begin embracing opportunities with less hesitation, because you understand that your gifts were meant to be seen and used, not hidden. You will begin speaking truth more boldly, not to prove yourself, but because you finally believe you have something meaningful to offer. This rebuilding will make you more grounded, not more prideful. It will make you more compassionate, not more defensive. It will make you more resilient, not more fragile. You will stop underestimating your own strength. You will stop settling for roles or relationships that minimize your identity. You will stop silencing your voice to keep others comfortable. As this confidence grows, you will be drawn into environments that honor it. You will begin attracting people who see you clearly, support your purpose, and value your presence. You will make decisions aligned with your worth rather than your woundedness. And the more this confidence strengthens, the more you will realize it was never lost, just overshadowed. I am rebuilding it piece by piece, truth by truth, moment by moment, until you stand fully in the strength, clarity, and identity that have always been yours. You may feel a power rising within you that does not resemble the strength you once relied on, a strength that no longer comes from pushing yourself to the brink, defending yourself endlessly, or pretending you are unaffected by what weighs on your spirit. And this new strength is emerging because I am reshaping the way you stand, move, and carry your soul through the world. The old version of strength you depended on was forged in survival. It taught you to endure storms, to keep moving when everything inside you felt fragile, to fight battles you didn't always know how to name. That strength was valuable for a time, and it protected you in seasons when you lacked support or clarity. But it also drained you, hardened you, and convinced you that the only way to progress was to bear everything alone. The strength rising within you now is different. It is not born from exhaustion or fear. It is born from alignment. You are learning to stand firm without forcing anything. You are learning to speak truth without feeling threatened by the reactions of others. You are learning to navigate challenges with steadiness rather than panic. This strength does not shout or prove. It simply exists, rooted deeply in the core of who you are becoming. You will notice that the more you embrace this strength, the less you react to situations that once consumed your emotional energy. You will respond with wisdom instead of urgency. You will choose peace instead of unnecessary conflict. You will feel patience where frustration once dominated. This is evidence that your foundation is shifting. I am teaching you strength that flows from self-awareness, boundaries, and inner peace rather than strain. This strength will guide you into deeper relationships, healthier decisions, and bolder opportunities because it is not dependent on circumstances. It is anchored in identity. You may be surprised by how natural it feels to step into roles you once doubted you could manage. You may find yourself offering guidance to others because your clarity has become stronger than your fear. You may find yourself letting go of things that once felt impossible to release because your spirit no longer depends on them for validation. The strength forming within you will become your compass. It replaces anxiety with quiet trust. It replaces self-doubt with grounded confidence. It replaces confusion with discernment. It allows you to walk forward even when you don't have every answer. His strength is not loud, yet it will be unmistakable. It will settle into your body, into your mind, into your voice, into your decisions. You are becoming someone who carries authority without aggression, influence without manipulation, and presence without pretense. This is a new kind of strength, one that cannot be shaken by criticism or stolen by disappointment. It grows from wholeness, not fear. And as it continues to rise within you, every part of your life will begin to follow its lead. You may not realize it yet, but the subtle courage rising inside you, the courage to make changes, to take steps, to envision more for your life, is evidence that the fear which once dictated your choices is losing its authority, and I am guiding you into a way of living where fear no longer shapes your direction. For years, fear disguised itself as caution, logic, or practicality. It convinced you that certain dreams were unrealistic, that certain risks were too dangerous, that stepping into your true identity would cost more than you could bear. Fear whispered through past experiences, reminding you of how disappointment felt and using those memories to keep you small. It held you back in moments when you should have stepped forward. It silenced you when you should have spoken. It convinced you to stay where you were because moving forward felt too uncertain. But fear was never meant to lead you. It was meant to signal where growth was needed. And now that growth is taking place, I'm teaching you how to move with intention instead of hesitation. You are beginning to recognize that the voice of fear is shrinking, becoming quieter, weaker, and less persuasive. You will notice this in the way you respond to new opportunities. What once terrified you now feels like an invitation. What once made you retreat now urges you to lean in. What once created panic now sparks curiosity. This transformation is not the result of pretending to be brave. It is the result of becoming aligned with truth. You are learning to move without fear because you are learning to trust your own voice. You are learning to trust the timing unfolding around you. You are learning to trust the wisdom being formed within you. You are learning to trust that you are not walking alone. As you shed fear, you will stop overthinking every decision. You will stop imagining worst-case scenarios. You will stop rehearsing failure before you even begin. Instead, your mind will settle. Your heart will find steadiness. Your choices will flow from peace rather than panic. Moving without fear does not mean you will never feel nervousness. It means nervousness will no longer paralyze you. It means uncertainty will no longer dictate your path. It means you will learn to step even while your voice trembles, because fear is no longer the one steering your future. You will feel yourself becoming lighter, more willing, more receptive. You will say yes to opportunities that once intimidated you. You will speak truths that once felt risky. You will enter rooms you once avoided. You will grow into roles you once doubted you could fill. This is the transformation unfolding within you. You are learning to move with courage, wisdom, and trust. And as fear loosens its grip, you will discover how powerful you truly are when nothing inside you is holding you back. You may sense an unusual seriousness rising within you, not a heaviness, but a grounded awareness that something significant is approaching. And this growing focus is evidence that I am preparing you for opportunities that will demand your full presence, your full attention, and your full authenticity. These opportunities are not the fleeting chances you once chased out of insecurity or urgency. These are purposeful alignments designed to elevate you into spaces where your voice, your discernment, and your character will matter more than your image or performance. I am preparing you not simply to step into these moments, but to thrive within them. You have spent years learning how to navigate life while fragmented, giving pieces of yourself to responsibilities, expectations, relationships, and worries. This fragmentation made it difficult for you to show up fully anywhere. You would shrink your truth in one space, silence your strength in another, and downplay your gifts in yet another. That era is ending. You can no longer afford to approach your destiny in pieces. What is coming will require you to stand whole. You may feel this shift already as you begin pulling back from distractions that once consumed your time. You may feel yourself craving more mental clarity, deeper emotional stability, and stronger spiritual grounding. These desires are not random. They are signs of alignment. I am teaching you how to be present, not just physically but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This presence will allow you to discern conversations beneath the surface, seize opportunities that would have once intimidated you, and engage with people who recognize your value. In the past, you entered certain situations with only part of your strength or part of your confidence, unsure of your place or questioning your worth. But the opportunities forming ahead are not built for the half version of you. They require the full depth of who you are. They require the wisdom gained from your challenges, the compassion born from your pain, the clarity shaped through your healing, and the courage rising in you now. I am preparing you by removing the habits that scatter your energy, the relationships that dilute your purpose, and the environments that drain your spirit. This preparation may feel like a pruning, a stripping away of what is unnecessary, but it is creating the space needed for presence. When you arrive at these opportunities, you will find that everything you once thought disqualified you is actually what qualifies you now. Your failures have become insight. Your wounds have become wisdom. Your delays have become preparation. And your growth has become your strength. You will not enter these moments timid or unsure. You will enter aware, grounded, and fully engaged. Trust this preparation. Trust the seriousness rising in you. Trust the way I am gathering your scattered pieces into a unified, powerful whole. You are being prepared to stand fully present, fully awake, and fully aligned in the moments that will shape the next chapter of your destiny. You may feel as though a subtle but profound shift is taking place within your perception of yourself. A shedding of old labels, old narratives, and old insecurities. And this transformation is unfolding because I am teaching you to see yourself not through the lens of your past or the opinions of others, but through the truth of who you have always been to me. For years, your self-perception was shaped by experiences that wounded you and voices that misunderstood you. People projected their limitations onto you. Circumstances bruised your confidence. Failures convinced you that you were smaller than you truly are. Even your own mind rehearsed outdated stories that no longer reflect the person you have become. This misalignment made it difficult for you to walk in your full identity. You dimmed your light to avoid being judged. You lowered your expectations to avoid disappointment. You questioned your gifts because others failed to recognize them. But now, I am removing the fog from your eyes. You will begin seeing your strength clearly, not as arrogance, but as truth. You will begin acknowledging your gifts without apology. You will begin embracing your worth without needing validation. And you will begin recognizing the greatness within you not as fantasy, but as alignment with the identity I placed in you long before doubt distorted it. This transformation will not occur all at once. It will unfold through moments of revelation, quiet realizations where you notice yourself responding differently, thinking differently, and valuing yourself more deeply. You will recognize how much you have survived and how much you have grown, and how resilient your spirit has been through every season. You will begin understanding that your compassion is not weakness, your sensitivity is not a flaw, your discernment is not imagination, and your desires are not too much. I am teaching you to see yourself with the same dignity, purpose, and beauty that I have always seen. This new self-perception will change the way you walk into rooms. You will carry yourself with quiet authority rather than insecurity. You will make decisions with clarity rather than fear. You will let go of relationships that diminish you because you finally understand that you deserve connection that honors your identity. You will speak with conviction because you trust your own voice. You will pursue what aligns with your future rather than what meshes your past. As you begin to see yourself accurately, your entire life will shift. The opportunities you attract will change. The boundaries you set will strengthen. The dreams you pursue will expand. And the way you show up will reflect not who you were but who you truly are. This is the revelation unfolding within you. You are finally coming into agreement with your true identity. And once you see yourself the way I see you, with clarity, love, strength, and purpose, you will never again shrink to fit any version of yourself that was created by fear, doubt, or the limitations of others. You may sense a deep internal shift, a quiet but undeniable awareness that the metrics you once used to judge your progress, your worth, and your significance no longer feel accurate. And this awareness is emerging because I am teaching you to measure your life through truth rather than comparison, fear, or old expectations. You spent years evaluating yourself through timelines shaped by other people, through standards rooted in insecurity, through achievements that looked impressive but left your soul empty. You told yourself you should be further, stronger, more successful, more confident, more everything. You compared your path to others and felt behind. You looked at your life through the lens of what didn't happen instead of what did. These distorted measurements weighed heavily on your spirit. They made you believe you were lacking when you were actually growing. They made you believe you were delaying when you were being prepared. They made you believe you were stagnant when the deepest parts of you were transforming. And now, I am rewriting the way you measure progress. You will begin valuing peace over productivity, alignment over approval, purpose over performance, and authenticity over image. You will start noticing how differently you think, how healthier your choices have become, how much stronger your boundaries are, and how much more intentional you are with your time and energy. These are signs of progress that cannot be measured by the world's standards but are unmistakable indicators of spiritual maturity. I am shifting your focus from what you lack to what you carry. You will find yourself releasing timelines that never belonged to you. You will let go of pressure that was placed upon you unfairly. You will stop judging yourself for not fitting into expectations that were never aligned with your purpose. Your life is not measured by how fast you move, but by how deeply you grow. Not by how many accomplishments you collect, but by how fully you step into your identity. Not by how you compare to anyone else, but by how aligned you are with the truth I placed inside you. As this shift continues, you will discover a freedom you have never experienced. The freedom to evolve at your own pace, to celebrate small victories, to honor your healing, and to embrace the unique journey that was designed specifically for you. You will stop chasing validation and start pursuing meaning. You will stop striving to appear successful and start living a life that feels authentic. This new way of measuring your life will bring peace where pressure once lived. It will bring clarity where confusion once lingered. It will bring joy where disappointment once overshadowed your days. You are learning to see your life through my eyes, and once this revelation settles into your spirit, you will no longer feel behind. You will feel aligned. You may feel a new sense of self rising within you, one that feels oddly familiar, as if you are meeting a version of yourself you once knew but somehow drifted away from. And this sensation is not new creation, but rediscovery. You are stepping into the identity that has been waiting for you since the beginning. There were times in your life when you caught glimpses of this identity, moments of remarkable courage, moments of clarity that surprised you, moments when your intuition was so sharp it felt supernatural, moments when your presence carried an authority you didn't fully understand. These glimpses were not accidents. They were hints of the truth beneath the layers you had yet to shed. Over time, life placed weight upon you. Expectations from others, wounds from relationships, disappointments that pierced deeply, responsibilities that forced you into survival mode. These layers obscured your true self. You adapted to environments that did not see your value. You changed your tone to be accepted. You hid your brilliance to avoid judgment. You carried insecurities that were not birthed from truth but from circumstance. And slowly, you drifted from the identity I crafted for you. But this season is different. You are not drifting. You are returning. Returning to your voice. Returning to your strength. Returning to your intuition. Returning to your purpose. What you feel rising within you is not a new personality. It is your original design surfacing through healed places. You will notice yourself thinking with more confidence, speaking with more intention, and choosing with more clarity. You will feel an inner alignment, as if your spirit and your life are finally moving in the same direction. This alignment will calm anxieties that once controlled you because your identity is no longer shaped by insecurity. It will silence doubts that once overshadowed your decisions because your identity now comes from truth rather than fear. You will begin operating with a quiet authority that others will sense even if they cannot describe it. Not arrogance, alignment, not dominance, certainty, not pride, clarity. You will find yourself naturally gravitating toward people, environments, and opportunities that match your emerging identity. And you will instinctively distance yourself from anything that tries to pull you back into old versions of yourself. This is the season where you stop contorting who you are to fit into places beneath your calling. This is the season where you shed the masks you used to wear for acceptance. This is the season where your identity becomes rooted, unshakable, unmistakable. You are stepping into who you've always been. Someone strong, intuitive, purposeful, and deeply connected to the truth I placed in you. And as this identity settles into your spirit, everything in your life will begin aligning with who you truly are. You may feel a growing tension inside you whenever you consider choices that once felt comfortable, as though your spirit is no longer willing to settle for what used to satisfy you. And this tension is revealing a vital truth. You are being called into decisions that are aligned with who you are becoming rather than who you once were. This shift may feel disorienting at first because you have spent years making choices from a place shaped by survival, fear, obligation, or the need for acceptance. You learned to choose what felt safe rather than what felt right. You learned to choose what would keep the peace instead of what would nurture your soul. You learned to choose what preserved old patterns rather than what propelled you toward your future. But as you step deeper into your destiny, the decisions before you cannot come from an outdated version of yourself. They must come from the identity rising inside you now. You will notice that choices you once made easily now require deeper thought. Situations that once pulled you in will no longer attract you. Opportunities that once seemed appealing may now feel empty because they do not match the direction your life is moving. This is not indecision. It is growth. It is the refusal of your spirit to shrink back into environments, habits, relationships, or commitments that no longer reflect your truth. I am teaching you to choose with intention rather than habit. You may feel stretched as you make decisions that honor your worth. Decisions that require courage, decisions that ask you to trust where you are being led instead of clinging to what you used to know. Your past may try to pull you back, presenting old patterns as comfort or old voices as authority, yet you will feel a quiet resistance inside your spirit. That resistance is guiding you. It is reminding you that you cannot walk into your future while making decisions from your history. You will begin choosing environments that nourish you, not drain you. You will choose people who support your growth rather than people who depend on your stagnation. You will choose opportunities that stretch your potential instead of ones that keep you small. You will choose paths that honor your evolution rather than those that preserve your old identity. These new decisions may feel unfamiliar, but they will bring peace that your past choices never delivered. They will lead to alignment. They will create momentum. They will open doors that were locked while you were operating beneath your calling. You are not just learning to choose differently, you are learning to choose as the person you were always meant to become. And with every aligned decision, you will feel your future taking shape with clarity and purpose. You may sense your confidence shifting, your clarity sharpening, and your insight deepening, as though something within you is preparing to speak in ways you once held back, and this rising boldness is a sign that you are stepping into a season where your voice will carry a weight it did not carry before. This does not mean you will shout louder or speak more often. It means that when you speak, your words will have impact, authority, and resonance. You spent years feeling unheard, misunderstood, or overlooked. There were moments when you silenced yourself because you believed your thoughts didn't matter or that your truth wouldn't be welcomed. You learned to observe quietly rather than express boldly. But through every challenge you endured, every lesson you learned, every perspective you gained, and every moment that shaped your character, your voice has been maturing. It has been gaining depth. It has been gaining wisdom. It has been gaining authenticity. This new season demands your voice, a voice shaped not by pride or ego, but by clarity and truth. Your words will carry weight because they will come from a healed place rather than a wounded one. They will come from alignment rather than insecurity. They will come from revelation rather than reaction. You may feel a growing urge to express what you once hesitated to say, not out of impulsiveness but out of conviction. You will be able to articulate thoughts you once kept buried. You will be able to speak into situations with insight that surprises even you. You will be able to set boundaries with confidence and communicate your needs without guilt. Your voice will shift relationships because those who once dismissed you will begin to recognize your strength. It will shift environments because your presence will carry an authority that cannot be ignored. It will shift opportunities because people will seek your perspective, your wisdom, and your clarity. You will no longer fear speaking up. You will no longer soften your truth to make others comfortable. You will no longer silence insights that were meant to guide you and those around you. Your voice will become a tool of direction, healing, and discernment. It will open doors and close others. It will draw in the right people and expose the wrong ones. It will carry weight not because of volume, but because of authenticity. This season is not about becoming louder. It is about becoming truer. It is about stepping into a level of self-expression that reflects the fullness of who you are. And as you begin to speak from this place, the world around you will shift in response, recognizing the gravity, the wisdom, and the purpose behind every word you release. You may feel a quiet shift in your relationships, a gentle distancing from some, a surprising closeness forming with others. And though this movement may feel confusing, it is happening because I am aligning you with people who can see, support, and value the calling placed on your life in ways your past circles never could. Throughout your journey, you often found yourself surrounded by individuals who connected to you based on who you used to be rather than who you were becoming. Some could only accept you as long as you remained small, predictable, or convenient. Others failed to understand the depth of your spirit or the vision stirring inside you. This misalignment created emotional strain, making you question yourself, doubt your path, or suppress parts of your identity to maintain harmony. But in this season, such compromise can no longer exist. I am drawing you into connection with people who recognize your purpose not because you explain it to them, but because their spirits resonate with your growth. These individuals will not be threatened by your evolution. They will celebrate it. They will not misinterpret your boundaries. They will honor them. They will not minimize your dreams. They will support them with sincerity and respect. You may find yourself craving deeper conversation, richer connection, and more meaningful interaction. This is because your soul is ready to be surrounded by those who see beyond the superficial and into the truth of who you are. The people coming into your life will challenge you in healthy ways, encouraging you to think bigger, believe deeper, and rise higher. They will awaken parts of you that have been dormant, not through pressure, but through genuine alignment. As these new relationships form, the misaligned ones may fade naturally, and though this can stir discomfort or even grief, trust that this transition is necessary. Some people were never meant to walk with you into your next chapter. Others were meant only for earlier seasons, and some were never meant to have access to your heart at all. Allow these shifts to unfold without forcing anything to stay or return. What is leaving your life is making room for what your spirit has been praying for. What is arriving will nurture your purpose rather than drain it. The alignment taking place will strengthen you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. It will remind you that you were never meant to walk this journey alone. You are being surrounded by those who understand your calling, honor your identity, and carry the capacity to walk with you as you continue rising. This alignment is not random. It is divine orchestration preparing you for the greater steps ahead. You may feel a stretching within you, subtle at times, intense at others, as though your heart, your mind, and your spirit are being enlarged, and this expansion is not the sign of overwhelm, but the evidence that I am increasing your capacity to handle the blessings, responsibilities, and opportunities that are unfolding before you. You have spent years navigating seasons that demanded strength you didn't even know you possessed. You endured challenges that shaped your resilience. You carried emotional weights that would have crushed a weaker version of yourself. You navigated transitions that forced you to grow rapidly. All of this has prepared you for what is coming, but now, preparation is evolving into expansion. I am enlarging your ability to carry influence without losing humility. I am strengthening your emotional stamina so you can handle deeper relationships without fear. I am broadening your mental capacity so you can hold vision without becoming overwhelmed. I am expanding your spiritual depth so you can discern clearly even in unfamiliar territory. This expansion may feel uncomfortable because it stretches parts of you that were once fragile. You may feel moments of pressure, not because you are failing, but because you are growing. You may sense greater responsibility forming around you, not to burden you, but because you are ready for more. You may find yourself handling situations with wisdom that surprises you, responding to challenges with maturity that shocks you, or navigating environments that once intimidated you. These moments reveal the truth. You are outgrowing your former limitations. The capacity I am building within you is not for small living. It is for greater purpose. It is for doors that require emotional steadiness, relational clarity, and spiritual strength. It is for callings that demand resilience, compassion, and discernment. The expansion happening inside you is preparing you for opportunities that once felt too heavy to imagine. You will soon realize that what used to exhaust you no longer drains you. What used to confuse you now makes sense. What used to intimidate you now feels manageable. And what once appeared impossible now seems attainable. You are becoming someone who can sustain growth without collapsing under its weight. Someone who can embrace blessing without losing balance. Someone who can carry responsibility without losing yourself. This expansion is intentional, sacred, and necessary for the fullness of your destiny. Trust the stretching. Trust the increase. Trust that I would not enlarge your capacity unless something extraordinary was approaching. You are becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable than you have ever been, and this expansion will usher you into a season where the magnitude of your calling finally matches the strength of your spirit. You may sense a growing awareness around you, as though something just beyond the edges of your understanding is drawing closer, and this subtle anticipation exists because I am preparing to reveal truths, opportunities, and insights that have long been concealed, not out of denial, but out of timing. There are things you prayed to know years ago, answers you sought, clarity you begged for, meaning you tried to grasp. Yet those revelations remain veiled because your heart was not yet ready to hold them without distortion. Some truths require maturity. Some insights require healing. Some opportunities require preparation. And some answers require you to grow into a version of yourself capable of carrying them without fear or misunderstanding. Now, you have reached a point where your spirit is strong enough, your discernment is sharp enough, and your heart is open enough for these revelations to unfold. You will begin to notice understanding coming to you in moments when you aren't even seeking it, insight rising mid-conversation, clarity appearing in stillness, perspective shifting in ways that make everything fall into place. Situations that once confused you will suddenly make sense. Relationships that puzzled you will be understood with depth and compassion. Decisions that felt impossible will become clear. This revelation is not meant to overwhelm you, but to empower you. I am unveiling purpose behind past pain, alignment behind past delays, and wisdom behind moments you once resented. You will see how I used experiences you didn't want to shape the strength you now carry. You will recognize how every detour was guiding you toward preparation rather than punishment. And you will understand why certain people and paths were never meant to remain. What has been hidden is not limited to understanding. There are opportunities forming beneath the surface of your life, doors you did not know existed, connections being prepared, and alignments coming together quietly, waiting for the right moment to appear. I am revealing direction for your next steps, not through chaos, but through clarity. This clarity will feel natural, almost familiar, because it aligns with the deepest truth of who you are. You will no longer feel lost or uncertain about what is unfolding. You will sense direction with an inner certainty that guides you forward without fear. Let this revelation come gently. Let it illuminate your past, your present, and your future with understanding. What was once hidden is becoming visible, and what becomes visible will guide you powerfully into your next season. You may feel a strange tension lately, not the crushing pressure of old seasons, but a subtle resistance, as though something in your life is shifting, cracking, loosening, and this sensation is the evidence that the final barriers between you and the breakthrough you have long awaited are being removed. Breakthrough is not a sudden moment. It is the culmination of countless unseen shifts, internal, emotional, spiritual, and circumstantial. You have already walked through much of this process. You have healed wounds that once controlled your decisions. You have released relationships that once held you back. You have shed beliefs that once distorted your identity. You have grown in ways you struggled to see at the time. And now, only a few remnants remain, barriers so subtle you might not even be aware they exist until they start dissolving. These barriers may appear as old fears resurfacing briefly, patterns attempting to return, or discomfort rising in situations you used to tolerate. Do not be discouraged by these moments. They are not signs of regression. They are signs of completion. A cycle always stirs before it ends. A pattern always fights for its last breath before it breaks. A barrier always becomes visible right before it falls. I am removing barriers in your mindset. Barriers that kept you thinking too small, doubting too quickly, or expecting too little from your future. I am removing barriers in your emotions, places where you once held back your truth, hid your vulnerability, or carried shame that never belonged to you. I am removing barriers in your relationships, connections that drain you, expectations that burden you, or attachments that no longer align with your identity. I am removing barriers in your environment, spaces that suppress your growth, routines that limit your capacity, or influences that cloud your clarity. As these barriers lift, you may feel unfamiliar freedom taking shape. The anxiety that followed you for years may begin dissolving. The heaviness in your spirit may lighten. The fear of stepping into new territory may fade. This breakthrough is not about one moment. It is about becoming someone who can sustain the blessings and opportunities arriving. You will begin to feel momentum where there was once stagnation, insight where there was once confusion, and confidence where there was once hesitation. This is the season where forward movement becomes your new normal. Every barrier that once hindered your path is losing its authority. You are stepping into a life built on clarity, strength, and alignment. And as each barrier falls, your breakthrough will not feel like a sudden miracle. It will feel like the natural culmination of everything I have been shaping within you. You may still feel the sting of certain doors that shut abruptly, opportunities that slipped away, relationships that dissolved without closure, paths that once looked promising but suddenly collapsed. And though those moments left you questioning your direction, I am now guiding you into a season where every closed door will reveal the protection and purpose behind it. There were doors you prayed to enter that would have drained you if you walked through them. There were people you wanted to keep who would have harmed your growth if they stayed. There were opportunities you fought for that were never aligned with what I intended to build in you. Yet at the time, all you could feel was disappointment, confusion, and the ache of unmet expectations. You interpreted those closures as rejection, but they were rerouting. You believed those endings signaled failure, but they were foundations for something wiser. Now, as clarity forms in you, you will begin to see how every closed door shaped your becoming. Not one was accidental. Not one was wasted. Not one was meant to diminish your worth. Some doors had to close because your spirit was evolving faster than the environments you tried to remain in. Other doors had to close because you outgrew the version of yourself those spaces were designed for. And some had to close because the timing was not mature enough to support what you were destined to step into. You are entering a season where understanding replaces frustration. You will see why certain opportunities did not open when you begged for them. You will see why certain relationships could not survive the weight of your evolution. You will see why the timing of your life refused to bend to your urgency. You may even look back at what you once wanted and feel grateful you didn't receive it. This is not bitterness. It is alignment. It is the recognition that what is meant for you will not compete with your peace or force you to shrink. It will not require self-abandonment or constant striving. As new doors begin to open in this season, doors that reflect your growth, honor your purpose, and resonate with your spirit, you will feel something you haven't felt in a long time: rightness, ease, authenticity. These openings will feel natural, not forced. They will stretch you, but they will not break you. They will challenge you, but they will not confuse you. You will step forward without the hesitation that once held you captive, because everything in you will know this is where you were meant to go all along. The season ahead will redeem every closed door. The explanation will come through alignment, not regret. And as understanding dawns, you will walk with deeper trust, knowing that nothing good was ever withheld from you, only redirected toward what was truly meant to hold your future. You may sense a sharpening inside you, an inner steadiness, a quiet knowing, a deeper awareness that rises even before your mind can form the right words. And this shift is happening because I am ushering you into a phase of clarity far greater than you have ever experienced. You have walked through seasons where confusion clouded your vision, where you questioned your next steps, where your emotions felt tangled and heavy. In those times, you leaned on survival instead of direction, instinct instead of purpose, and reaction instead of insight. But those seasons were part of the process that strengthened your discernment. Confusion taught you patience. Uncertainty taught you trust. Silence taught you how to listen underneath the noise. Now, clarity is emerging as the natural fruit of your growth. You will begin sensing truth instantly, not through fear, but through alignment. Decisions that once felt complicated will no longer intimidate you because your intuition will speak with a certainty you can feel in your body. You will recognize who belongs in your life without needing to analyze endlessly. You will sense when something is wrong before words are spoken. You will know when to move and when to pause without battling confusion. This clarity will not come from overthinking. It will rise from a deep connection within you, an inner guidance shaped by wisdom, experience, and spiritual maturity. You may notice your mind quieting in situations that used to trigger anxiety. You may find yourself able to process emotion without spiraling. You may realize you can now distinguish between fear and intuition, between impulse and insight, between insecurity and truth. This is not coincidence, it is transformation. I am giving you the ability to see beneath the surface of situations, to understand dynamics you once misread, to detect motives that were previously hidden, and to perceive opportunities aligned with your calling. This clarity will protect you from unnecessary detours. It will keep you from entering relationships that drain your spirit. It will prevent you from returning to old cycles disguised as comfort. It will help you recognize the difference between a test and a blessing, a distraction and a doorway. As clarity increases, you will not only understand your external world better, you will understand yourself. You will see your worth with new eyes. You will honor your boundaries with deeper conviction. You will embrace your gifts without hesitation. You will trust your voice with authority. This clarity will reshape how you think, how you choose, how you walk, and how you show up. It will lead you into a future built not on confusion, but on discernment. Not on fear, but on truth. Not on guessing, but on knowing. And as this inner knowing grows stronger, you will finally realize that the wisdom you sought for so long has been forming within you all along, waiting for the moment your spirit was ready to receive it fully. You may feel subtle movements inside you, small sparks of motivation, unexpected boldness, a renewed ability to hope, or a deeper clarity rising from places long assumed empty. And these sensations are not random. They are the awakening of strengths that have been dormant within you, waiting for the exact season you are stepping into now. Throughout your life, there were qualities you carried quietly, almost unknowingly, instincts you brushed aside, ideas you minimized, abilities you underestimated, and inner reservoirs of courage that remained unused because the circumstances around you did not yet require their fullness. You walked through seasons that demanded endurance instead of confidence, survival instead of creativity, silence instead of expression. In those times, it may have felt as though your potential dissolved beneath the weight of responsibility or disappointment, but it never disappeared. It simply retreated, waiting for alignment. You were not ready then, not because you lacked value, but because your spirit was still forming the maturity needed to wield such strengths without fear or confusion. And now, those dormant parts of you are awakening. You may notice yourself thinking differently, responding differently, or even desiring things that had once faded from your imagination. strength you once dismissed as insignificant will rise with new authority. The courage you once believed you lost will reappear with deeper conviction. The creativity you thought had dimmed will begin flowing in ways that surprise you. You may even find new talents emerging, abilities you did not realize you carried because they were hidden behind old insecurities or environments that could not nurture them. This awakening may feel unfamiliar, but it is not foreign. It is a return to your true design. These strengths were placed within you long before life taught you to doubt yourself. They were part of your original blueprint, part of the destiny you were created to fulfill. As they awaken, you will feel an internal shift, a rising certainty, a sense of capability, a quiet confidence that allows you to step into spaces you once avoided. You will begin taking risks that reflect your growth instead of your fear. You will initiate conversations, decisions, and movements that require spiritual confidence rather than emotional fragility. This will not feel forced. It will feel natural, as if something within you is finally stretching into its rightful place. These strengths are awakening because the season ahead requires them. The opportunities forming in your path will call for courage, insight, leadership, compassion, and stability, qualities you now possess in greater measure than ever before. Trust this awakening. Lean into it. Nothing rising within you is accidental or premature. Every strength being awakened is perfectly timed, perfectly aligned, and perfectly suited for where I am taking you next. You may sense your imagination expanding, as if the limits that once confined your thinking are dissolving, and this inner widening is happening because I am lifting your vision higher, far beyond what your past experiences, disappointments, and fears ever allowed you to see. For years, your vision was shaped by survival. You were forced to focus on immediate needs, on short-term solutions, on making it through seasons that stretch you thin. When you lived under emotional pressure or instability, dreaming felt risky, and hoping for more felt dangerous. Even when you tried to imagine a brighter future, the weight of past heartbreaks and disappointments pulled your expectations downward. You learned to be cautious with your hope because you did not want to be crushed again. But now, your spirit has healed enough to see differently. Your perspective is shifting because you no longer view your future through the wounds of your past. The internal ceilings that once capped your dreams are lifting. The limitations others placed on you are losing their authority. The fears that distorted your vision are dissolving under the clarity rising within you. You may find yourself envisioning possibilities that once felt unrealistic, imagining paths you had abandoned, or sensing a calling toward territories that once intimidated you. This is not wishful thinking. It is revelation. Your future is expanding because you are expanding. I am elevating your vision so you can see the magnitude of what you are capable of carrying. You will begin recognizing opportunities hidden in places you once overlooked. You will perceive potential in situations that once seemed insignificant. You will see yourself differently, stronger, wiser, more capable. And this new self-perception will allow you to envision futures that align with your true identity rather than your former limitations. As your vision rises, your standards will rise with it. You will no longer entertain relationships, environments, or commitments that shrink your purpose. You will gravitate toward paths that challenge your growth instead of paths that keep you comfortable. You will make decisions based on expansion rather than fear. This elevated vision will not overwhelm you. It will energize you. It will pull you forward with purpose, giving you a sense of direction that feels both exciting and grounded. It will reveal possibilities that match your calling, not your circumstances. And as your vision expands, your faith, courage, and confidence will expand along with it. You are stepping into a season where you will no longer dream from the ground. You will dream from the vantage point of who you are becoming. From this height, you will finally see just how much more is meant for your life. You may feel subtle tremors within your inner world, moments where old wounds resurface, memories return with new meaning, or emotions rise unexpectedly. And though you may interpret these experiences as regression, they are actually signs that I am rebuilding the foundational parts of you that life once fractured. There were places in your heart that felt permanently damaged, corners of your mind that carried shame, and parts of your story that seemed too heavy to revisit. You learned to cope by pushing those places aside, constructing strength over unresolved pain, and functioning as though nothing had been broken. You became skilled at appearing stable even when your internal foundation was weakened by what you had endured. But now, as you step into your greatest season of purpose, those hidden fractures can no longer remain unaddressed. Not because you are broken, but because the weight of your future requires foundations that are whole, steady, and strengthened through truth rather than survival. And so I am leading you through a gentle but profound reconstruction, a rebuilding that honors where you have been without allowing your past to define where you are going. You may feel old fears rising, not to shame you, but to be healed. You may feel old habits losing their grip, not through pressure, but through clarity. You may find yourself confronting truths you avoided because you now have the strength to face them with maturity rather than fear. I am restoring your inner structure piece by piece. Your sense of worth, your emotional stability, your ability to trust, your capacity to hope without fear of disappointment. This restoration is not rushed, it unfolds with intention. Every layer that is rebuilt becomes stronger than before, reinforced with wisdom that suffering taught you, compassion that heartbreak shaped within you, and resilience that hardship birthed in you. As these foundations reform, you will feel more grounded in your identity and more anchored in your truth. You will no longer collapse under pressure because you are no longer patching yourself together. You are being rebuilt from the core. Relationships will feel different because you will no longer seek validation from wounded places. Decisions will feel clear because they will no longer be shaped by fear. Opportunities will feel more attainable because you will no longer be undermined by hidden insecurities. This rebuilding is not punishment. It is preparation. It is me making sure you are strong enough to carry the blessings and responsibilities of the future without being weighed down by the fractures of your past. And when the rebuilding is complete, you will look back at these moments not with shame, but with gratitude, knowing that what once felt like collapse was actually reconstruction leading you into deeper wholeness. You may feel an overwhelming amount of noise around you, voices pulling at your attention, distractions clouding your mind, opinions trying to shape your decisions. But this heightened awareness is not a sign that you are weakening. It is a sign that I am teaching you how to rise above the noise so your spirit can operate from clarity rather than chaos. The world around you has grown louder over time. More demands, more pressure, more expectations, more opinions, more information than your heart was ever meant to carry. This noise often caused you to doubt your intuition, second-guess your decisions, and lose sight of the quiet truth I placed within you. You gave your attention to many things because you believed you had to, not realizing that much of what you absorbed was draining your capacity, confusing your direction, and dulling your discernment. But now, you are entering a season where external noise cannot be the driving force of your life. I am teaching you how to hear me above the commotion, how to sense truth even when the world screams contradiction, how to recognize peace even when everything around you demands urgency. You may notice yourself becoming more sensitive to what you consume: conversations, media, environments, emotional atmospheres. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is refinement. Your spirit is becoming attuned to what nurtures you and what destabilizes you. You will start disengaging from noise that once captivated your attention. You will stop explaining yourself to people who cannot understand your growth. You will release the need to respond to every demand or defend every choice. This is freedom, the kind that strengthens your ability to discern my voice from the world's confusion. As you rise above the noise, you will find clarity returning with force. Your priorities will sharpen. Your intuition will strengthen. Your peace will become non-negotiable. You will feel more anchored, more centered, more connected to the truth you once struggled to hear beneath all the external pressure. This rising is not about isolating yourself. It is about reclaiming authority over your inner world. You will learn to let noise pass through you without attaching to it. You will recognize which voices deserve space in your spirit and which do not. You will feel empowered to choose silence over chaos, alignment over distraction, depth over stimulation. As you master this elevation, your life will shift. Decisions will feel easier. Relationships will feel clearer. Your mind will feel lighter. Your heart will feel safer. You will navigate challenges without losing your peace and step into opportunities without being overwhelmed by doubt. I am teaching you to rise not above people, but above the noise that once clouded your vision. And as you rise, you will move with a confidence and clarity that nothing around you will be able to shake. You may feel an unusual lightness forming around the areas of your life that once felt tangled, complicated, or obstructed, and this shift is happening because I am clearing the path before you, removing the obstacles, distractions, and unseen forces that once slowed your progress, so you can move forward without the hesitation that used to weigh you down. There were seasons when every step felt like resistance, when progress came only through struggle, and when you questioned whether you were walking the right direction because the path felt so burdened. But many of those obstacles were not signs that you were wrong. They were reflections of old patterns, old fears, and old influences that surrounded you at that time. You were not yet strong enough to move forward with clarity, nor healed enough to trust where I was leading you. Now, all of that is changing. I am clearing the emotional clutter that caused confusion and indecision. You will notice situations resolving themselves without your intervention. You will see people who once drained your energy naturally distancing themselves. You may even observe doors closing quickly so you do not remain where you no longer belong. This clearing is precise, intentional, and deeply protective. I am removing what could hinder your next steps, even if you do not fully understand why certain things are shifting. You might feel life simplifying, not because it is becoming small, but because it is becoming aligned. Complications are dissolving. Noise is fading. The unnecessary is falling away. Every layer removed is creating space for momentum. As the path becomes clear, your spirit will feel more confident in moving forward. You will no longer second-guess every choice. You will no longer fear taking the next step. You will no longer battle the invisible weight that once made even simple decisions feel heavy. Instead, you will feel guided. You will sense peace marking your steps. You will move with clarity that does not come from logic alone, but from the knowing within you. This clearing is also removing spiritual resistance, the doubts planted by past disappointment, the negative internal narrative shaped by old wounds, and the subtle fears that once hijacked your direction. I am removing everything that cannot travel into your future, because your next season requires unhindered movement. You will walk differently in the days ahead. You will walk with courage, not caution. You will walk with confidence, not fear. You will walk with focus, not confusion. Trust the clearing. Trust the simplicity forming. Trust the ease emerging. When the path becomes straight, it is because destiny is calling, and nothing that once stood in your way will be able to remain. You may sense an unusual convergence happening within your life. Threads from different seasons pulling toward one another, pieces of your journey that once seemed disconnected now aligning, And this convergence is taking place because I am positioning you for the moment where everything comes together in a way you could never orchestrate on your own. Your life has unfolded through chapters that did not always make sense in isolation. There were moments when your strength grew quietly, moments when your character was refined through hardship, moments when your gifts developed in hidden places, and moments when your heart learned truths through experiences you did not expect. At times, you questioned the purpose of these scattered experiences. You wondered why your path felt winding instead of straight, why certain talents awakened early while others slept, why relationships formed and dissolved in such precise timing. Now you will begin to understand. I have been weaving your story with intention, preparing you piece by piece for a moment when your growth, your healing, your clarity, your wisdom, and your purpose would converge into alignment. You are approaching that moment. This is why your spirit feels both anticipation and peace. Anticipation because something significant is nearing, and peace because deep down, you sense that you are finally ready. You may notice opportunities aligning with your strengths rather than your insecurities. You may encounter people who recognize the depth within you without you needing to explain yourself. You may begin stepping into situations where your past lessons become tools rather than wounds. Nothing you have lived has been wasted. Every disappointment strengthened something essential. Every delay protected something sacred. Every detour redirected you toward purpose. Now, these scattered pieces are forming a whole. Your identity, your clarity, your healed heart, your sharpened gifts, your elevated vision. As everything comes together, you will move with confidence and ease because your life will no longer feel fragmented. You will feel a sense of rightness that cannot be explained through logic but resonates deeply in your spirit. You will feel prepared rather than overwhelmed. You will feel aligned rather than uncertain. This is the moment destiny has been shaping you for, the moment where you step into a future designed specifically for who you have become. The wheels of destiny have been turning, and now they are bringing your past, your present, and your purpose into perfect alignment. What once felt disconnected will soon reveal itself as a masterpiece of timing, design, and transformation. The moment where everything comes together is approaching, and you are stepping into it fully ready. Amen.